Futures ticking higher here so far this morning. We are downside ever so slightly, but back to the upside currently. If you're joining for the first time this week, we've got a lot to come over the next couple of days, including more AI earnings to talk about. We got the Fed, of course, coming up tomorrow afternoon at 2 p.m. We'll get a cut. It looks like better part of 90% chance at least of a cut at this point from Fed Chair Powell. Going to be interesting to hear the comments, I think, at 2:30. We'll bring you that press conference live when it happens as well on not only what's going to happen going into next year, but any kind of indication as far as the overall health of the economy. Going to be very, very important. Lots of individual names moving around this morning. I was just reading a note on, not terribly exciting, but Home Depot downside this morning on a guide cut. Not a lot of volume here so far on Home Depot, but looking like that right now. Actually just took out day lows and continuing to the downside. Full year 2026 guidance cut for them, so not good on that part. Tesla moving around here this morning back to yesterday's low after gapping down yesterday morning, and then it was just a big flush throughout the entire day mostly. More incentives coming into the year end. Elon's renowned for trying to pad the numbers, for lack of a better term, going into the year end every single year. This year, no different, but positive news around the semi-truck.
There you go.
A little this morning.
DHL, Uber fleet, Brendo, they're going to get it. But to build on your point, great point, because I got a text message from Tesla saying that they've got special rates now on the Model Y. And I think I told you this off camera one time when I was looking for the Cybertruck back in the spring. One of the sales representatives told me, come towards the end of the quarter. Right. That's when we like to juice the numbers. We'll give you rates. We'll give you cuts. Right. Good morning, guys. Lots to talk about today. Nvidia certainly in focus with President Trump authorizing the sale of the H200 to China. Doesn't mean China wants to buy it, though, despite President Trump saying President Xi was positive about the news. I'm reading articles already from the Financial Times saying that China's quite cautious with looking to purchase those. Also, multiple investigations surrounding Nvidia smuggling H100 and H200s. Canada has a part to play in this as well, Brendo, into Southeast Asia, finding its way, of course, into China. A lot to talk about this.
It's only going to cost them 25% as well, which
Not
is
too much.
I mean, it's a fee, but I guess if you're Nvidia at this point, do you really care about that? Actually, getting a nice little uptick right now, some volume coming through. Probably just some dark prints going off, guys, but. Wild day yesterday, including after the close for Nvidia. I mean, all these AI-related semiconductors going to be worth a watch today. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. So what, they don't want the chips, but you've got people literally like conspiring to smuggle them that are going to go to jail over this. So like, obviously they do. It's a matter of whether the government allows them to.
I mean, speaking, go ahead,
yeah, the desire is there for them. There's zero question about that. So like the businesses will buy them, so long as the Chinese government doesn't disallow them to. So the demand's going to be there. Nvidia spiked a couple times, obviously in the afternoon and then overnight here again. Yeah, you were right about that. It was dark pool wicks in there as well. We don't have a ton of in terms of like earnings, but there were some plays yesterday that you want to pay attention to because CoreWeave upsized that offering that they put out, so that's going to be in play. Intel has its own news, although that's minor, rather minor, I would say. And Bitcoin. It held 90,000. But that's about all it did. Didn't do much after that.
Yeah, 90,500. Yeah, no, I was saying to Adara, it's funny how, I guess America's just for sale. I mean, we've known that for a long time. I mean, basically, this was a national security issue until they could get paid. And then all of a sudden now, it's not a problem. So it's just like, all right, you know, we don't want to have them, get them too much power, but if they're going to pay us 25%, that's all good. Now, but the thing is that these chips are more than 18 months now behind Blackwell as far as the technology is concerned. So I think that sort of weighs a little bit on that decision there. It's not like you're giving them the best and the biggest chips ever. I think it's affecting a stock like, and I might just get out of Alibaba, honestly. Like I bought some at 160. I'm not really feeling these Chinese names. It's gotten hit here today, down 2% on that news as well. So this news continues to fall down. And like I was saying, like if you could just import anything for a fee now, and we're not worried too much about national security, then yeah, I'm not sure some of these homegrown Chinese plays are going to be the jam that I was hoping for. You're actually pretty close to breaking lower right now on Alibaba, so I'm going to be watching this pretty carefully. And I may, you know, if this doesn't react well today, then I think we can dump it. We just bought a little bit more at 160 just like last week or 2 weeks ago. We can get our money into better names than Alibaba, especially on this kind of a news right here. But yeah, I mean, I asked earlier, I was like, what are we even doing today in this market? I mean, the market right here, the Nasdaq is flat right now, just a 0.2, ES 0.4, one red, one green. That doesn't really matter. And then as you mentioned, Neil mentioned there, Bitcoin flat on the day-ish as well. So it's just kind of like, I like the Home Depot trade. I just don't know if it's going to be a good one for you know, our purposes here. It's not doing a whole heck of a lot of volume, but all of a sudden just coming out and saying, yeah, no, our forward guide is not as spicy as we had hoped it would be there. And they just reported. So they came back in and fell. And these were the levels that I was thinking like, hey man, maybe we missed the boat on buying some of these. But with a lower guide here, frog in the throat, the lower guide here, I'm not sure this level holds. So we'll have to wait to see for a 325 base down here for Home Depot. But just trying to, again, get into other names to diversify a little bit. And yesterday we had some interesting talk back and forth in the midday, basically near the end of the day, on John Deere and some of these tractor supply company, fertilizer companies, all of that. Oh, apples today? Bananas are greener than the apples, yeah. Big apple fan, especially this early. Especially these ones. These are going to be way too acidic, I think.
Oh, they're
right there. But thank you, Randy, for that. And then it's earnings week, right? So we got a bunch of different names that we're going to look out for here on report there. You know, we got Lululemon coming through. And then tomorrow is, I see you have it up over there, but it's Fed Day. So yeah. I had just written down the TQ short. I wrote down some Netflix action today. And then, you know, I'll have to watch this off that 96 level. I'm pretty interested in this. If we can come back into here and see what happens. I think this is going to wind up being a good deal for Netflix, whether or not they get it or not. And what I mean by that with Warner Brothers is it's been hit so far now down to the downside here that even if they don't wind up getting it, I think most of this action here is assuming that they're going to pay and potentially not get the greatest deal, I guess, on Warner Brothers. I think even if they miss on getting this and it goes to Paramount, I think we can go back to the upside here. It shouldn't affect any of their earnings. It shouldn't affect any of their outlook or anything like that. In fact, they'll keep $86 billion or whatever it is. So I like this for Netflix coming right into a great spot. I don't know if I even want to wait for 90s anymore. Still a decent PE on Netflix, but I don't mind it down here. So we'll figure out right now what is going on. I have no idea. My mic is probably the same sound. You might want to turn your stuff up there. But Andre's working on the mics. So anyway, there you go.
There's always something.
So now it's more certain.
Well,
for Fed.
Yeah, it depends on the source. Like whatever. Like we're getting a cut tomorrow, but the Kalshi has it at like 93%. The CME Fed Watch is still at 89. It's almost like this just isn't moving anymore, which I found a little bit surprising. Like usually, like I wouldn't be concerned necessarily, but by this point, the day before, when everyone's considering it's going to happen, usually this has crept over 90, and you know, tomorrow morning if we come in and it's still saying 89, I'd say it's not a gigantic probability that it doesn't come in, but it's high enough that you at least want to be ready at 2 o'clock on the off chance, right? So if this doesn't creep over 90%, like Kalshi is doing here, like 94, it's just a 93, now you're seeing 94, that would be not concerned, that's not the word, you just want to be prepared, I think. Because if we don't get a cut, remember those 2%, 3% type days we were having? Yeah, if somehow that small probability ends up truth, then you can see that'll happen in the market. 3% down would seem almost reasonable. And then watch out for the IWM. The Russell is going to be affected a lot. But in terms of actual, crazy movement going into it, like you look at the Russell, and just to show, like look where we are on the futures right now. Like we're sitting right in the middle of the last few days range.
Ooh la la.
Randy, thank you for the coffee.
Thank you.
The Russell showing some signs of rolling over. I'm not saying it's rolling over. It's just showing, it's like a triple top on the Russell with a bit of a flat bottom here at 250, if you're looking at the IWM. So there's just enough in there that there's a few people that seem to be concerned about this rate cut, or at least maybe a little bit of a pullback in some of the smaller cap names. So I think at some point we're gonna have Mitch coming on through. I'm gonna be curious to see what his take will be on some of the small cappers going into this Fed decision, which, as probable as it is that we're getting a cut, there's just enough kernels out there. Keep it in the back of your mind. What you want to do if there's a surprise. I think the IWM is the place to look. That's probably going to be the best short in the small probability it were to happen tomorrow.
Oh, I mean, that would
not
be
happen tomorrow. Sorry.
Yeah, if they don't cut the rates, you can just start whack-a-mole. You can punch short on any of those, but IWM for sure would be the thing, man. And you know I'll be trading the Qs tomorrow 100%. So watch out for that. There, we'll be trading some of these. Tomorrow, join us tomorrow at 2 p.m. when this all happens. We'll try to light that on fire a little bit. We'll look at some Netflix today. We'll look at some Qs today. We'll look at the SPY, the IWM, Open Door, everything that was moving around yesterday. How about our guy SMX over here as well? $125. Where's Obi calling this thing 500? There goes SMX to the downside. And then TGL was quite a nice move yesterday and in the last couple of days as well. So some of these names just getting hit a little bit downside there today. Remember, we have GME and stuff coming through this week, so there's going to be lots of action, lots of things to talk about. Despite there not being, a crazy amount of stories happening here. Wow, that's a nice little GameStop move off that $20. I think we talked about that before. GameStop nicely cooking right now, over $23. That looks actually really good right now, holding that 50-period moving average. We'll see what GameStop has in store for us today as well. In order to get our watch list, you got to go in there. You got to get to our link in description, sign up for the watch list. It's mailed completely free directly to your inbox. And if you are a member as well, you'll get Sharif's morning note. And of course, membership is just $5. And you get that through YouTube. And many of you have been gifted membership, so please go check that out. And if you like it, then just continue on. It's just something that we put together every day, and you get little cool emojis and icons and all that kind of stuff for the chat. So yeah, Carvana added yesterday. Lots of stuff going on over there. So I don't know. Yeah,
remember how Fastly had an imbalance
last night?
We're like, why was there an imbalance on Fastly? It was a big buy imbalance.
Yeah.
Did not remember this. Fastly moving to the Nasdaq.
Okay.
So I think this would be the first instance where I've actually seen a stock. It doesn't really moving from the Nasdaq to New York. It's not that really. Shouldn't really do anything in terms of imbalances, but I guess it created some demand. But the FSLY, for us here at Real Trading, we actually put the market in the drop down. So for our charts at least, go to eSignal will be fine. But you go to our charts, you only have 1 day of data. And FSLY, if everyone that's curious, if you're looking, it is now joining the Nasdaq. Feels like it's been a bit of a thing recently. You have a lot of these companies that are moving from the NYSE over to the Nasdaq. Yes, I don't know if this one really matters at the end of the day, but just anybody if you happen to be curious. And just a reminder, Fat Figure, you've been around a while. Oh, I see every single morning. IBIO, great. $ IBIO, that's what we got to do. Make sure, everybody, if you are typing, and just get in the habit. I know I muck it up every now and then. I just saw Walmart in there from Glass Half Full. IBIO was a mover yesterday. But if you wanted to get on that nice little list behind us so that when we're all paying attention to what's moving or what you guys are interested in, then we can all see it. Everyone here in the team, of course, and then anyone looking behind our backs will know what are the top symbol that the viewers are talking about, that you guys are talking about. It keeps us on our toes. Sometimes for the small cappers, that's the best way for us to know what's going on. Only up 10% here, but worth a look. And make sure you type in that $, even if it's GLD, Mike, in the chat. So any of those.
GLD on the AMEX. Of course, Walmart first day on the Nasdaq as well. We'll screw up all of our charts.
Yeah, pain in the butt.
All right, guys. Yeah, look, it's going to be a good day here. We've got Sharif and Brendan just chilling out in the back there. I see Randy might be on coffee duty back there as well. I'll say hi to Randy for everybody when he comes through. Again, this is Walmart. It's not doing too much going on here. But let's go back over to Brendan, see what he's up to.
8:15, guys. We got some numbers coming through here this morning. We'll get ADP employment change. That's a weekly number. Keep in mind, coming up at 10 o'clock this morning. These are actually there's two listed here, 2 different months. So we're still working through some of the backlog from the government shutdown going back a month ago or so. So there's both the September JOLTS jobs number and the October JOLTS job number coming through at 10 o'clock this morning. And then the Conference Board's leading index as well. That is also a September number, but coming up here in a few seconds, we'll get, hopefully, ADP employment change again on the week. It's supposed to be negative 13.5, or that was the prior, I should say, negative 13.5 on that number. We'll keep an eye out for that, but a little bit delayed here, it looks like anyways. Jolt's coming up at 10 o'clock. We have, looks like a 6-week bill auction at 11:30, and then 1 p.m. during your guys' show, we'll get a 10-year note auction as well today.
That's a big one, Brendo, especially for longer dated debt, mortgages specifically. Yeah, we start the first day of the FOMC meeting today. We'll get the rate decision tomorrow. You'll recall that the FOMC President Powell, Chair Powell, excuse me, said that, the rate cut in December was not a foregone conclusion. Well, the market feels a little bit differently here, Brendo, with a 90% likelihood of another quarter-point rate cut tomorrow to bring down the rate to 3.5 to 3.75. So we'll have to see whether that jolts the market to the high side. Widely expected that it was supposed to be a rate cut tomorrow anyway.
Just checking on, yeah, definitely. Just checking on, there it is, finally get this, 4.75 thousand. 4.75 thousand was that ADP number. Again, the prior negative 13.5, so at least we get back to positive on that side. Again, 10 o'clock, really the headliner coming up today is going to be a whole bunch of employment data as well. There was an interesting note I was reading this morning on Ford and Renault. Ford very, very, very much struggling, as we've talked about in depth on this show, with EV production and EV demand, really, in North America specifically. But they're going to go over to Europe and team up with Renault for a quote-unquote low-cost EV build-out manufacturing. They're going to supply the engine side, Renault the rest. It comes at a time when this weekend, for Formula One fans out there, this weekend was Renault's final race as an engine supplier in Formula One. They're packing it in after, man, decades. They've been around that sport for 30, 40 years probably. Ford coming back, though, next season. So Renault out, Ford coming back, teaming up with Red Bull. They're going to supply engines to Red Bull next year.
I've seen Ford try to take some European models, Brendo, and bring them over here. Comes to mind right away the Ford Modena. Did very well in Europe. They tried to bring in here under the Ford Fusion label. It did poorly. This tie-up here is a little bit different. They're actually trying to take some of Renault's already established lines, engines, and frames and try to, build the Ford product on top of them for the European market. Not doing well, obviously, in EV sales, as we saw. Widely speculated that they're going to cancel the Ford F-150 Lightning, and we heard about the Mustang Mach-E, where they were losing about $35,000 per car, or at least last report, Brendo. So nice to see them actually trying to gain some sort of foothold in the European market, but not having to invest as heavily as they would have.
Yeah, and still, not really throwing in the towel altogether on the EV side of things, but, still attempting in maybe a different way that, let's face it, hopefully works out for them. Google back to lows here as well. Speaking of Europe, there's more on this EU antitrust note this morning for Google. It was a pretty ugly day yesterday, just straight downside all day long for Google.
I mean, Brendo, I don't like to, point fingers, but yet another European investigation into an American company. This time, it's basically, are they using some of the content by publishers to train its AI model? So the European Commission launched a fresh antitrust probe on the use of online content for AI training and deployment, including materials from web publishers and YouTube creators. It's basically they're using their stuff without compensation, Brendo, and they don't have a choice to opt out. So, for example, can they maintain their web search, their web presence on Google's network, but Google not use that material to train its AI models? They're trying to say you have to divorce the two. It can't be that we don't put our product online on Google's network because we don't want you to train it on your model. So there has to be a bit of a differentiation. That's what the Europeans are saying.
They'll come up with a fee, they'll pay the fee, and everyone will be magically happy again, as it happens most times. Google back to, what was it, 311, I guess, 311.50 at the lows there. We're sitting at 312 right now at support. Let's jump over to Joe. He's got options for us today.
Good morning, everyone, and happy Tuesday. I hope everyone had a fantastic Monday session. A lot of interesting things going on with the options activity, guys, so let's get right into it. The top of the list here, we have Warner Brothers Discovery. Yes, at that $27 strike price, guys. Very interesting stuff. That is going to be expiring next Friday. Open interest sitting around 20,200 contracts with volume around 5,700. Very interesting stuff there, relatively speaking. There might be a ceiling. I'm going to be looking at this as a potential supply zone on Warner Brothers. Now, as for Carvana, continuing its climb higher, guys, open interest relatively light and some volume coming in here with 4,200 contracts and 4,100 still currently open. Once again, that is going to be expiring on the December 19th expiration cycle. Watch out for that 450 level to come into play. Yes, Microsoft coming out with some news yesterday as well too, guys. So we want to take a look at this. This is going to be expiring this Friday. Open interest sitting around 5,600 with volume substantial here, relatively speaking, for Microsoft at that $500 level. 12,500 contracts traded and closed on the session yesterday, guys. Now, as for some of the activity, we know Nvidia getting the nod by the United States government saying, yes, you can ship your H200 chips. So we want to take a look at some of the options activity. But first things first, I've been pulling up the daily. This is the value of the options contract. This is going to be the December 12th 200 call. And once again, we can see that it was worth a substantial amount, $1,800. And now it's lost 99% of its value over time. So there's something to be looked a little bit deeper into here. And I'm going to continue to do that. And I'll most definitely be bringing it to you guys. But as for the volume, 84,000 contracts traded on yesterday's session with 64,000 still currently open. That is going to be the largest amount of open interest at that specific strike price and through that expiration cycle. Now, as for the bid and the ask, it's only $1. So that's a dollar spread. That's not bad at all and relatively cheap. So you're going to be paying $22 for that. But again, time is not in your favor, and that's really something important. No, as for your delta exposure, extremely cool. Gamma as well too, guys, sitting around that 0.014. So your gamma being your rate of change may seem a little bit confusing, but once again, just for people who aren't informed, your delta is for every 1 point move in the underlying asset. That is the value in which the contract is going to change, all right? So it's not going to be changing drastically whatsoever on this specific contract. You're at the money IV sitting around 44.8%. And that's what we got going on for some of the options activity, guys. I'll see you momentarily with some upgrades.
We will look forward to that, Joe. And I think, look, obviously NVIDIA is going to be on a lot of people's minds today with the news. At 200, can we get there? I feel like we'd be stronger. We're less than 1%. Right now. It's only Tuesday, and remember, of course, with Fed tomorrow, you'll probably see a little bit more volatility post, for sure. But one name on that you were talking about there, Joe, that I'm pretty sure is going to be a bit of a mover today. Remember Carvana? Don't forget Carvana, getting the nod for the S&P 500 edition. So far, it looks like the first red day in a while. If it just did nothing all day long, it would have the first red day in a while. But that was a big-time move up. We've seen this story before where you get all the exuberance, run into it, get your bounce, but at some point there is that, like, sell the news type of event. So I would think Carvana, if you don't make a fresh high relatively early on, like in that first 15 to a half an hour, then you could have a profit-taking type of day here. Like the news is already in, like everybody knows, they're going into the index. And then that close will, whenever, we'll see what happens on the close when they get officially added. But for today, if you're not making some kind of a fresh high, I'd look for some profit takers to come in on CVNA. And no questions asked, the chips are going to be in play. But don't forget on some of these day two type plays. Like I was just looking at CoreWeave, which is, well, actually CoreWeave had a bit of a headline here, so I should maybe read that for you guys. Where is it? It didn't seem major. Expanded mission control, whatever that is, to accelerate enterprise AI adoption. So CoreWeave's up about a point. The upsize they're offering to like $2.25 billion, the one that was announced yesterday in price yesterday. And yeah, popping here, so reversed pretty much all of yesterday's down move and then some here for CoreWeave. So yeah, names starting to come into play, some volume starting to come in as well.
Yeah, we're excited to have Mitch coming very, very soon. I was looking to potentially short Intel. It doesn't look like that JOLTS number did anything. If anything, we started to go a little downside right here in the market. But I'm going to look short on Intel. It's starting to head up, but I want to look at this break right here, 39.60. So the sticky note is going to be out in 2 seconds, and it has this breakdown on Intel right here. I mean, boom to the downside right there. And we're going to see if Intel wants to hold or not. But I'm looking short today on INTC. It might be a little bit better of a short up here near 41 if we can get near there. But for right now, I'm looking short on INTC right now. We'll have some more larger and longer looks at all of these names as we go. Thank you, Joe, for all that information. So we're going to be moments away. We'll talk to Mitch, see what he thinks about some of these chip names right here, right now. Yeah, guys, today just in the back there, we had, it's funny because we had Fastly move over, we had Walmart move over. I don't know, Sharif, you think Walmart, this move over to the Nasdaq will create any sort of an action for the stock? You like this name these days?
Bettina, man, got to be honest with you, I didn't even know about the story until Neil told me this morning, but that seems to be kind of like a bit of a tailwind. We saw Palantir shift gears into the Nasdaq. Also, some other companies moved over, Brendo, too, as well.
We were on vacation the last time that came out. Regarding that shift for Walmart, I was just reading a note here from UBS on Apple. You and I were just discussing Apple on the AI side of things. UBS analyst David Voigt maintaining a neutral rating on Apple, 280 price target, noting App Store revenue grew 6% in November after 7 and 9 in September and October, down from 12 last year. So not going in the right direction as far as the App Store specifically goes, but you were just making an interesting point as far as Meta on the AI side versus Apple on the spend.
Yeah, well, see, the thing is, Meta took a bit of a different approach to their AI. They wanted to go open source, much like what the Chinese were doing. And so far, it's failed. Llama 4 is far behind all the other competitors. In fact, Brendo, when Jensen Huang was on the call, he mentioned every major AI customer, as well as their model, except Meta. A glaring omission as they shift gears. And what they're trying to do now, Brendo, is they're trying to shift to a new closed source model called Avocado. We reported on this a few months ago. That you gotta love the names Avocado, Llama, it's fantastic. Katina is already hungry there. No, but seriously.
A little guacamole.
What this says to me is Apple's gambling. They're gambling here because they're focusing on small language models on device. That doesn't necessitate that much CapEx. However, if that ends up being a dead or failed or not a good enough technology, they're going to be 2-3 years behind their competitors.
Big tech overall pretty weak the past couple of days. Meta included in that. Apple, kind of choppy as far as yesterday goes. But again, Apple on the neutral side of things as far as today goes for some of the ratings anyways. Meta is still a lot of question marks, I think, going forward, going into 2026 as far as what their plan is. Here's Microsoft, meanwhile, looking pretty good. 2 days in a row here, popped up in the pre-market. They're going to drop $17.5 billion into India.
And Canada.
And got a nice little pop on that this morning, yeah.
And yeah, we can't forget about Canada, Brendo. Another 5.4 billion Americans. So I was asking in the chat, I'm like, where is that going to be built? But by the time I got to writing the last word, Katina Man asked me about Walmart. So yeah, here's the tie-up. I didn't see the India headline, Brendo, but the tie-up here with respect to Canada is 7.5 billion Canadian, about 5.42 billion American. They're looking at building data centers and AI, cloud, obviously, infrastructure. It's supposed to go live the second half of 2026. So that's a quick turnaround. We're talking, maximum from now, a year, which is pretty good for that kind of scale.
Yeah. If you zoom out a little bit, going back a couple of weeks here, guys, Microsoft has some decent levels up here, 493, 494.
Microsoft, I was looking at, go ahead, yeah.
Before we get into that, I just want to clarify something. It's in the chat right now because there's a couple of movers this morning that I want to get to. ATMC, which thank you, Shaggy, for putting this one in the chat. This is Alpha, what are they called? Alpha Time Acquisition Corp. Announced the deal yesterday in the aftermarket. So Alpha Time, it's a SPAC, they announced the combination. They're the one that moved and are moving on that, and it's halted, I guess, because of that news. Now there's another one, ATMV, which is Alpha Vest Acquisition Corp. No clue whether these are even related, But this spiked on the other one's news aftermarket and seems to be running in sympathy. If I can find a connection between, if there's a connection between the two, fair enough, but I haven't seen any connection between the two. It seems to me like this one's just moving because the other one is, which makes it a little bit precarious. I just want to make sure everyone knew that. And again, if there's a connection I'm unaware of, then let us know for sure. No, but Microsoft is around some key levels. But the thing is, Microsoft's telling you what to do right now. If we're not busting through prior support, like it's like this 500 area, right? Inside of this range, you're still downward trending. The 200 period's been the jam. That's the place to buy. I felt like when Amazon did this, it showed you where the place to buy was post earnings, and then that was where you did it 3 times in a row. So I think you got to be a little bit patient here and just wait for this 470 to 472 iron softy until it proves that we can hold the back above the 500 level. I think you just play the patience game. This one's still downward trending.
I really think I would be buying, I'd be buying Microsoft and Meta and all these names here if I wasn't already so heavily invested in all of these names. I mean, I try to wrap my head around, for example, Meta's all the way back to the 200 period and looking great again, back up there to the upside. I didn't know what Sharif had mentioned there, that it was sort of dismissed there, the llama, that we're not even talking about that, which is the case for Meta, right? That's why it's been hit so far, is just the spend, and are they getting anything out of it right now, and are they just playing to play in the sandbox? I mean, that's the thing. There's so many players involved here that does Meta even need to be doing something like that? Maybe they should have looked at something like what Apple was thinking about, just worry about Instagram and sort of what they're doing, worry about their own metaverse, and then maybe even deal up with an Anthropic or somebody else that has a model that they can potentially adapt to their software. I mean, they have such amazing, consumer-facing products. I mean, we were talking about this yesterday, even with a couple dads at hockey yesterday. It's just they open up their phones and it's I have no idea what to do. So everyone just clicks on the Instagram app, or whatever, or TikTok if you're a kid, or I don't know if anybody's using Facebook anymore. But WhatsApp is well used as well as a messaging. I mean, I'm talking with some of the hockey dads right now, actually, on, it's funny, my only friends are friends from either high school or from what I'm meeting at my kids' stuff these days. But there's the move down for Meta over the last couple days. And yeah, be interesting to see where this name winds up going. I'm actually excited to see their next earnings report, just to see how some of that has been accrued. And then the same thing with Microsoft. If I wasn't already in this name pretty heavily and trying to look outside of AI, I mean, what a great opportunity it is to buy this name. I agree with Neil, 470 would be great to get that 200 period moving average, but at the end of the day, I mean, 490 to 470, unless we're talking options or something that's really gonna matter over the next couple weeks on the price, this is a great opportunity probably to buy another perennial beat, right? These guys, the reason why the stock market's at highs right now is earnings have been incredible. All these companies keep on beating. And they meeting their expectations. That's why the PEs aren't getting blown out on a lot of these companies, because the price is meeting the earnings. So it's kind of the analysts are having to upgrade a lot of these stocks just because of what the expectations are for the new year. Now you get rate cuts coming through as well. I think it's a Goldilocks situation. Jobs doesn't seem to be too much of an issue right now. So we'll have to wait to see. I mean, if jobs get even worse, that might even be better I hate to cheer for that. I mean, I'm not, but if jobs continue to get worse, which the JOLTS was relatively flat here, then I think a stock like Microsoft in this market does continue to go higher on the back of a Fed that can continue to be quite dovish in the favor of cuts. So I know we only have 75 basis points scheduled for all of next year, but I think that Microsoft, Meta, all these big, huge conglomerates will continue to put up earnings. And as long as they continue to do that, these stocks are going to be forever buys. And I'm just bags full, man, right now. So I don't know what to do. If anything, buy some Costco down here. If you wanted to sort of diversify a little bit away from some of these names, we have Home Depot on the watch today as well, as that's down 2% and near some nice lows. So you don't get Costco too much hanging underneath the 200 period for very long. This trend eventually will reverse. I don't know when, but look at this support area right back into tariff tantrum lows again for Costco. So this could be a name that we start to look at here. You want to talk about a name, that does well on earnings. I think they might have missed the last quarter, which is what's creating this little move down. But I like Costco here. I like the banks. When we do get Mitch coming through, we'll have to see if there's any names outside of the tech space that he enjoys also, because there's a few, right? Like the SMRs of the world. If you're looking to get some gamble mood in your life there. Talk about gambling. I mean, DraftKings, man, if you gambled on their earnings miss, you're doing okay on the DraftKings earnings miss, because they went down to $26 there. They got flushed, and now it's a nice little bump up there for DKNG, which could lose some steam here now that I look at this. Look what level. Wow, when you take a look at that, right back at a nice little level here for DraftKings. This could be, ooh la la. Maybe I should think about this on one of the short list today as well.
To come in a little bit.
DraftKings, yeah. Well, the market is a forever short, I think, until. Look, so my note is out now, by the way, guys, and I think we're still waiting for Mitch, and when he shows up, we'll get him. But here's what I have on the note today. It's pretty simple, man. Short TQQs. I don't know if you might zoom in a little bit here. Short the TQs, long the Netflix, short Intel, short, unfortunately, crypto. So we'll wait to see if IBIT can get going here a little bit as well. We'll talk more about that. So I don't know, Sharif, Brendo, what do you guys think about this 90,000 area here for Bitcoin? You like Bitcoin better than ETH here, or are we just watching to see what that next big move is?
Let's take a look, Katina, man. Let's see what BTC's been up to as of late, because I know that 90,000 area has been holding nice, but ETH was popping off a little more aggressively than Bitcoin was. So yeah, it looks like we're basing out here since the middle of November. That 90,000 area, this is a nice long area of consolidation. Let's take a quick look at ETH, see if we're getting the same look. Yeah, same thing, Katina, man. It feels like maybe the pops are a little bit more aggressive, but it's within that same range, about 2,700, maybe 2,750 to the downside, about 3,200 to the top side on ETH. Yeah, it's a tough look, Brendo. I mean, we were talking about this one possibly hitting all-time highs by the end of the year, but it's really... And I want to say something. I constantly complain about the fact that if I want to punch into the Qs, I'll buy the Qs. I don't buy Bitcoin for it to move with the Nasdaq. And we're getting divergence, but we're getting divergence in the opposite way. It's not like Bitcoin's running and the Qs are dropping. The Qs are popping or near highs, and Bitcoin is not following. So nice to see some decorrelation, but in the wrong direction.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things from a technical standpoint. First thing you want to see on a pullback is for the selling to slow and maybe get a little bit of a consolidation. So, pretty good levels right now, I think, for both Bitcoin and Ethereum. Going into the end of the year, I wanted to mention this real quick. Just getting set up here with Mitch over the next couple of minutes. We'll bring him in, talk about what he's looking at. Medline, decent size, sorry, I'll zoom that in. Decent size IPO still to come before the end of the year. This is set for, there isn't a specific date yet. It just says the week of the 15th. So possibly next week, we'll get Medline 5.37 billion on this one, 175 million shares coming 26 to 30 in the medical side of things. So we had a whole flurry of IPOs going back to, spring, end of winter, spring of this year. It was very, very exciting. Then it kind of died off. Most of the latter ones that came to market didn't perform terribly well. This will be a good test, I think, for the IPO market specifically going into next year.
Absolutely, and you got to feel maybe we get a little bit more of a bump up this time with the rate cut coming. Hopefully, it's more widely expected, but it should be really interesting, Brendo, because I don't think any of the IPOs are trading near the highs. Not the CoreWeaves, not the Figmas. Yeah. They've all sold off quite aggressively.
Big names behind this as well. Blackstone headlining it, but take your pick as far as investment bank goes. They're all involved in Medline, guys, next week.
That might be it might be a better sector, because I think at least you don't have to, like if you look at everything that's been more tech related, I wouldn't be a believer in them.
MyX has been a good one.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, but MyX is, that's like directly market related, so market volume, market volatility for the Miami exchange is just boded well. They've been a fantastic IPO, MyX, and I was about to show you guys CoreWeave, but CoreWeave's actually in play. And we've all seen all these IPO charts. They just have not been very good. Even MyX has actually pulled back a little bit here, but this would be the one. If there's another IPO that's actually up from its open this year, let me know. This is, and it close to its highs, I should say, because lots have given back, but not given it all back. CoreWeave hasn't given it all back, but it's given a bunch back. And that's sort of the thing. Even if this one ends up being decent sized and a solid trade, it doesn't mean you actually want to buy it next week and then hold it. That's not necessarily been the game. A few have been okay, and I think you can dig into those for sure. But you know what? Speaking of stocks, with just one stock, 3D Capital, you can get exposure to 60+ early stage plays in AI, biotech, and blockchain, including some more. Led by CEO's last deal returned 150x. 3D trades under IDK on the CSE or IDKFF in the US. You can subscribe to their YouTube channel for exclusive interviews and deep dives, and you could win up to $1,000. This is your ETF for early stage innovation. Scan the QR code you see out in front of you. Shout out to 3D. And shoot, I just heard that there was, you catch that in your ear? So there was another small capper that was going. But I did want to confirm and thank you guys for pointing out those two alpha ETFs, or not ETFs, ATMC and ATMV, they are not, in fact, related. And that was thank you to one of our viewers pointing it out. I said I couldn't find anything related between the two. One of our viewers says they are, in fact, not. So ATMC halted the upside, did get a deal. ATMV, and look at that. It was at about 13 and a quarter, and we're like, this is just running because the other one went, and there's no connection here, and it's down like 30% since then. This is why you've got to do your diligence here. Sometimes things run when there's no news, and maybe there's something going on there that it might continue, but in this particular case, it looks like people just followed the leader for some reason, and hopefully you didn't get caught in that one. That's why we try to get you the actual story so that you don't trade blind.
Yeah, I think the name, I just saw this right here that you might have heard was this Akari, AKTX. Just another data therapeutic company here. Pancreatic cancer, I mean, so we cheer on any kind of obvious development in the race to cure cancer. But there goes AKTX right now, just a name that's been obviously destroyed once we broke through that $1 mark right there. It's just kept on going, broke through that 90, broke through this 65 area. I would say a take of 65 would be, potentially start of some sort of a new trend here. That's also your 50-period moving average here. But this is Akari Therapeutics, and right there on that little bit of a bump to the north side. It was just up 25% when it popped, and now we're up that 4 or 5% rate there again. So AKTX, potential runner right there. Redbook retail sales out at plus 5.7% year over year. Maybe a little bit of a bump up there, but as Neil said, we are starting to head downside a little bit right now. And we had indicated the short. Yesterday, my biggest trade was on the Nasdaq. We went long early, which was wrong. Then we got doubled up on the short. So we were feeling big time short yesterday, as that was a big trade for us. We were, as I said, we were long early. Then once we broke through this 56 area, we went short. We got it again right there and took that short into the close before covering, before those imbalances, which were pretty wild. But I'm going to try to use this 57 top. Now, I don't think we're going to get there. When we're writing this down, of course, we're at 55.80 or so. It went down 40 cents. It would have been nice to go up 40 cents and get closer to this 57. So I'm just up here because this has been the top. So whether or not we short it at 56.60, something like that, if we get a little bit of a runner here in the market today, I think it's going to be either a down or sideways day. I don't think it's necessarily going to be an up day. So for me, I'm going to be looking short early somewhere. If it happens to be here at 56.20, then that's what we'll do. But for right now, market going to the downside. We'll wait for a little bit of a pop. And if the market gives us that pop, then we will look to fade this a little bit. I just don't see like the rhetoric tomorrow with Powell. I don't know, man. His job is over in May. I think he's going to remain somewhat, I don't know, hawkish potentially, which means, could throw some cold water on future rate cuts. We got the report yesterday that it was only going to be 75 basis points. And remember, at the beginning of this year, I think we were talking about like 5 or 6 cuts alone this year. Those turned into 2, all right? And then next year, we're talking 3. Like if those turn into 2, then all of a sudden we're staring at those earnings again, which I still think will be good, and I think the market will be fine. But just as far as the Fed is concerned, I would say that 2 to 3 cuts is what it's looking like. We showed you yesterday. This is the Qs, by the way, which is on just such a nice run as of late, and nothing to complain about, man. If you're long tech or you're long the market, that's for sure. But it just there could be some cold water thrown tomorrow. And there could also be nothing but love for the market. So that's why we dance, right? And I think join us tomorrow at 2 p.m., even earlier. Neil and I will probably be on 10 minutes earlier. So we'll review sort of the price action heading into the number, and then we'll have it for you live. We'll have the conference. We'll probably put Powell up there. Adara will focus on what color tie he's wearing. And then we will have all of the information as it comes through. So yeah, we're excited to trade that today. And we are joined now at 8 o'clock by all of you guys. So make sure you hit that like, hit that bell, get notified every day now at 8 a.m. So it's an 8 a.m. start. So if you're looking for new numbers, 8:15 we had a number today. Now we can get that live to you. Some of these small little runners there as well. So set your clocks just that half hour earlier and join us now in the morning time. And the response has been great. You know, more viewers throughout the day, and now YouTube's starting to promote a little bit. So thanks, guys, for continuously hitting the like, and get active in the chat. That's another thing, right? If you guys participate in the chat, it makes the group so much better, and we get more ideas and a funner environment, that is for sure. You know, talk about a fun environment over here. Looks like Mitch is about getting ready to go to the beach. So let's get ready to rock and roll. He wouldn't wear that stuff around here, I'll tell you that much right now. But shout out to Mitch, looking good over there. We'll throw it back to the desk and see what he's up to.
The heat.
Beach for Christmas. Okay.
Oh yeah.
The heat is on.
He's here already. I can hear you before I can even see you.
On.
Is it a beach day or what's happening?
Hey, it's the NBA Cup. Baby, gonna go Miami Heat, of course, and I'm all about the Heat culture, of course, the hardest working. You know how we are. We got to keep working hard, especially in this market. It ain't easy, guys. But I hope you were long AMD and Nvidia, because I know I was yesterday, and on stream calling exactly China chips going over there. I had a feeling Trump has been talking lately to the CEO of Nvidia, and I think that this has been something in the works. And I think that this is the way that they can really start structuring the China deal with the addition of going to Nvidia, going to Intel, going to AMD, understanding what they need, right? And what they need to continue moving forward, because Trump understands this one thing, is that if the AI trade is going to continue, it's going to be because Nvidia does well, it's because AMD does well, it's because Intel does well, Broadcom. So he's here to support them, and he's trying to make money during this, right? So the tariff situation, instead of tariffing China 25, 30%, he's find another loophole. He's like, why don't I just go through the companies themselves and say, hey, do you want to sell more? Well, you're going to give me the cut. And that's what's happened here.
So we go back 8, 9, 10 months or whatever it is now to find the actual date when these H200s were even somewhat relevant. So there's that standpoint. China's already come out and said they're going to heavily limit the availability of these H200s going into the country. And as you said, it's only going to cost them 25%, Nvidia, to be able to go and sell them. So if you look at all of that from a whole, Mitch, is it actually that positive? And I say this simply because, yeah, we got that nice pop after the close yesterday, but we're coming right back in here again this morning.
Yeah, I think you got to look into now what's the hard work, right? The TAM, the research behind the customers that are needed. And if I look at both of these companies, and I'm just going to compare Nvidia and AMD because we'd be here all day to compare all four, but AMD actually has the better chance of China revenue than Nvidia. But China, of course, has a high-end GPU market that's estimated at $50 billion. So there's money here to be had. And if we think about AMD, AMD is pretty strong in their China revenue. It was about a quarter of their 2024 revenue. Of course, this doesn't have to do specifically with AI chips, but also shows me more and more that they have relationships in China that they can start pulling on now, that they have access to sell them these AI chips. So if there's one that benefits more, actually, it's not the one that got the higher pop yesterday, Nvidia, it's AMD. But full disclosure, I still got an AMD swing on, so I'm reaping the benefits.
Completely agree. Just from a sentiment standpoint, definitely positive going into 2026 for all of these. Let's go to crypto here. You had ETH on your list this morning. We were just discussing overall where this entire market sits. I mean, I think both of these coming off a little bit of a bounce, Bitcoin included, still at really, really good levels.
Yeah, we talked about this one last week. This was my call on the Bitcoin, right? I was looking for Bitcoin, I was looking for Ethereum weakness, and I was looking for them to start popping back in a relief rally. I think we got that relief rally, but if you really think about it, this has been very small bounce back, especially like if you look at an ETHU, kind of more of that leverage approach. Now, today's the big day. Either we continue going green and I think tech starts to really rally, or tech drops off here. And if you noticed around the other sectors, we've really started to pull back. Even healthcare has started to pull back. So technology needs to hold today. And I'm looking right now, the Qs are losing a little altitude. So we have to be on alert. Today is definitely more of that day where the bulls can either stay in control or start losing control. I don't think the bears take control here, but it definitely is at the point where we could see some further pullbacks come into play. So today's a big watch for Ethereum. We'll see what happens. Can it go right back up, ETHU, back to 65? Or are we going to get 60 undercuts? If we start to get back to 60, well, we're right back to where we were last week, and this just starts the concern right back in. And really, Bitcoin has been leading the markets. I know Tom Lee said that, and a lot of people gave him, junk for that. But hey, the truth is it has been leading the markets. Let's see what happens here. If we get another break on Bitcoin to the downside, another area to look at will be what happens with gold, because gold is starting to get in a little bit of a rut here. I think the market needs to hold on also for gold to hold on. So there's 3 trades there, right? Bitcoin would lead, gold would start coming down, and the market would come down with it too. So here's where we need to pay attention to see what happens towards the end of December.
All right, another list you had on the weak side of things, retail. We mentioned this one. You saw the chart there real quick. That's Home Depot. It bounced off 340 coming off the back of that guidance cut going into 2026. But, I mean, you had a list of 4 or 5 here on the weak side of things as well in the retail group.
Yeah, we got that flip. Remember, we did the Black Friday call out to the upside, and I talked about later in the week, you start to see the weakening start to happen, and that's exactly what we got. We got certain names to really start falling off that were really strong. You had, Gap going up stronger. You had Best Buy going up on a bad report. Those are signs, right? The bad report was telling us the real stats, right? But it was a buy the rumor, sell the news event, right? And if you look at it, the news wasn't really bad. There were some Black Friday stocks that did really well. So I think at this point, you start to look at some names that are holding it that could rebound if we have a strong day. But these reports like you're getting in Home Depot and Lowe's just shows us more and more what? The consumer is weakening out there in the long run. And so for the next couple of months, I would be looking at this as a downside trade leaking back. But of course, you could look for maybe a name like ANF to hold on. But you kind of look into this space and you saw all the names go popping and right back, like names like KSS and Macy's, right back to where they came from, right? The truth is, there's no real retail rally here. It was just Black Friday exuberance.
And ANF, good one. The chart there, just holding underneath $100.
Just holding,
yeah,
right?
Huge level there.
And these are like your mall kind of retailers, and we all know what happens in the holidays. Everyone starts going out to the malls, and they're buying that kind of stuff. But it's limited stuff, right? And I think that's what you got to be looking at. Big purchase stuff might struggle this holiday season.
Part of this all on the back of maybe what's to come tomorrow, just from a high level. Going into the end of the year, going into Fed Chair Powell's last hurrah, if you will, for 2025 anyway, still 90%, we're going to get this cut. Could benefit names like Home Depot, some of the retailers, take a little bit of pressure off that consumer group.
Yeah, you're going to get the cut. I think you might see a little bounce there, but the longer guidance for Home Depot just probably really kind of shuts this out here. I think what you got to be looking for is more that IWM play, right? The small cap area. Because if you've noticed, we've had some recent small cap activity where you've had some of these names like SMX just go crazy the other day, was able to take a short on that name. Don't advise that, but it was more of a learning lesson. 2 shares short when made over $150 on that, but just to show how to go after a name like that. But that tells me that the small caps are getting and they're starting to fire. And normally they come a little bit earlier. Everyone's front running that Santa Claus rally and the small cap rally that usually comes at the beginning of the year. So now it's been slowly but surely moving further and further back in time, closer towards right now in December, leading towards the end of the year. Let's see if we get some more of these small caps to get the rally.
Not necessarily a small cap, but on the stronger side of things, and don't want to go all the way there, but SaaS names have come back to life a little bit. CRM looking pretty good. You had Unity as well, another name in this one too. Not necessarily SaaS, but tech. Uber, right back to recent highs. Anyways, got up here to 92.5 a couple of times over the past 2 days here. What are you thinking on Uber?
Yeah, I think this is a perfect monthly chart where if you look at the daily, you might be a little bit scratching your head, but the monthly chart cleans it all up. It's just support right there at 87, trying to come right back for the trend line approach towards 100. So I think this is a really good levels to start looking for continued upside in Uber. You could look for quick dips if we do get a down day. It could be that dip towards the 90 MA around the 90 spot, but I think Uber wants 100. I think this is one of the leading stocks into next year. One of the things that I'm looking forward, and I always talk about this, is theme focus. This is when you got to start thinking, what's going to come in 2026? Is it still the AI kind of dominance, right, leading? And what are the things that will lead that AI? So, of course, you've been seeing people taking bets on energy, right? Because they feel energy will continue moving, data centers, that kind of play. And another play is the autonomous play. Uber is one of the leaders in autonomous here. They're in so many cities that they will continue to get more approval in different places. And I'm looking for the autonomous trade to stay hot. One of the names that I didn't really trade often, but recently have been taking a look into, and it's a LiDAR play. It's AEVA. So take a look at that one as a longer term kind of outlook to kind of watch what performs on this. It has been coming back as of late. You guys can clearly see it holding here. Let's see if it can really start making a move. And if I think about it, it's been leading my 5-day price trend towards the market. And I have a watch list of over 76 names there, and this is the one that's leading it. And what is it? It's a LiDAR play. You can look at this one also running with like a name like Ouster, which is OUST. Look for LiDAR autonomous plays to kind of come working back in 2026. And so for that mention, also Tesla at some discount will be attractive, at some discount. Right now, I don't think is a time.
And the semi-catalyst coming through this morning as well, a few more anyways, orders for Tesla. I was reading an interesting note on the weekend, just kind of echoing your sentiment there with regards to, is it going to be the broader AI play all throughout this year? I mean, it feels like we've only talked about, the AI semiconductors or GPUs, yeah, Nvidia's, AMD's, or as you're saying, are we going to get that trickle down to the next level and those uses of, those actual practical uses of AI, including the autonomous side of things. Last but not least here, healthcare. What do we do with healthcare stocks today?
One that I'm watching that has a ton of accumulation, and I'm looking for stocks that can start showing accumulation on this pullback, because I feel like that healthcare move was a strong move that could get reloaded into towards the end of this year. So Pfizer has been a name that I've seen tons of accumulation at the 25 to 24 range. It looks institutional to me. It doesn't look retail. It looks like they're here for the long term. So I want to try to play that rally. If Pfizer could really get back above 26, hold, and really start getting towards the 27, it's going to be looking really good with a huge base on the bottom, tons of volume. You can really see this on further charts like weeklies and monthlies. That's where you see the change in the spike of volume that's down here. So the base has been created. Now we need to see the momentum really start taking part. Another thing to look at in healthcare is the genomic space. You've had names like Path, Beam, and CRISPR start to show that strength back up, right? Twist Bioscience, a lot of these are starting to get stronger. So the genomics area is another theme to look in 2026. And a big part now, it's like I'm talking about, start looking at where the ball is going, guys, not where it is today. So I'll pass you guys the ball.
14 and a half trading days left, Mitch, in 2025. Only 14 and a half trading days left in this year. It's gone by so fast. What do we need to know over at Trade the Pool going into 2026?
Well, it's going to be a great end of the year, of course, and this is the time to get after those evals so that you can have a nice funded account to start the year with. I know that all of us are looking forward towards that, so here's the time, right, to get after it. So if you haven't had a funded account before, I say get after it before the end of the year because, like always, we like to start the year fresh, focused. I know I'm enjoying the action, excited to keep things going. Swing account looking great with those Nvidias and AMD calls. And that's the major watch today. If Nvidia can stay green, I think the market can stay green here. If we start to undercut those lows and we start cutting towards yesterday's 15-minute, hour kind of support area after the rip, that's what you want to be watching because they are going to put a little bit of shake on buyers that bought at the close. So watch for that quick whoosh, but buyers should quickly step back in. That's what I'll be watching to trade right here, guys. Check us out, guys. Trade the pool.
Great stuff. Mitch Hoke over at Trade the Pool. Good to see you.
Go Heat, baby. Let's go.
Shout out to Mitch and to the Miami Heat.
Yeah.
The one game behind the Toronto Raptors, Miami Heat.
Boo Heat.
Well, I'm just calling it like it is. We're ahead of the Heat, and right now I think we got a better team. That was a good call on UiPath there, though, because the genomic names, like they are absolutely breaking out. So no question about it. No particular catalyst today, but there has been nary a red candle, and on the daily chart, big time breakout here happening. UiPath, a Cathie Wood favorite, but let's look to see what upgrades and downgrades are in tow with Joe.
Yeah, absolutely. But first things first, 14.5 sessions left for American Eagle to stay under $26. I think that's the most important thing to know. All right, guys. All right, let's take a look at what we got going on for some of the upgrades and downgrades. Here we got Colgate at the top of the list, guys. Price target being raised to $88 by RBC. You can see the ticker just below there. CL, we're up slightly, a little bit under 1% in the pre-market session. Now, BCE, this is Bell Canada here, guys. Price target going from a neutral to a sector outperform. We're relatively flat here on the morning. And then Wave Life Sciences up almost 10% here, guys, in the pre-market. Price target being raised to $27 by RBC. And then we have Otis Worldwide by HSBC Securities, lifting that price target to 105 with just about over a 0.5% here in the pre-market sessions. All right, guys, now Norwegian Cruise Lines getting the downgrade here, lowering that price target to $21. You're down 1.88%. And then Confluent here, guys, you're down 0.07%. Price target being lower to $31 by UBS Group. And then we have Chimera by RBC Capital, lowering that price target to $13, down about 0.25% here. And then Paychecks by BMO Capital Markets, lowering that price target to 121. One thing before we send it back over to the guys, I know we want to get into the rundown, but just a quick look here. This popped up a little bit later. A lot of the Chinese ADRs, guys, getting the downgrades here. We have Alibaba Group. The only reason why I'm bringing this up is because Sean was talking about it earlier this morning. So we have Alibaba Group as well, too. JD.com and Pinduoduo also getting the downgrades there, guys. And Warner Brothers also on the downgrades list, everyone.
68.55, guys. That's where we closed out yesterday on the ES December contract. We're below that level right now, and we're below that key technical area of resistance we've been talking about for a period of weeks now. 68.75, despite us having been above that level yesterday and having knocked on the door of 6,900. We're going to say 68.35, which is yesterday's low as our first area of support. If we continue to sell off, we're looking to the 25-point level. If we catch a bid, Brendo, our first area of resistance is going to be that 75-point area again. If we really get going here, we're looking at that 100-point area, 6,900 as resistance number 2.
All right, lots to understand here this morning. If you haven't done so, make sure you grab that. Free, F-R-E-E, link is below, top one in the description. We'll get you to the sign-up page for the watch list. Grab that, it has everything you need to know on it. Every single morning comes right to your inbox. As I was saying with Mitch here, we're coming back in a hurry here for Nvidia. Just bounced off 186, maybe temporarily back to 186.50, but somewhat consolidating. I mean, it seemed very positive when it came out yesterday, midday-ish, or the hints at which this was going to come. And then after the close, we get the huge run-up. But I mean, we've given a lot of this back already.
Yeah, Brendo, this is a big development, and I have a lot to say about this. 3 different stories in the morning note are devoted to Nvidia. Obviously, the main one here, President Trump authorizing the H200. The second one is China's reluctance to even want to buy the H200, and the third is a smuggling ring involving a Canadian and several Americans who were smuggling H100 and H200s into China. Nothing we don't know already, Brendo.
Those damn Canadians.
So I'll just quickly review this one. President Trump announced Nvidia will be allowed to ship the H200 to approved customers, though, in China, as well as other regions, as well as give the U.S. government 25% of the revenue. Recall, the previous agreement had been 15%, Brendo. That's now 10% higher. The Department of Commerce will vet every single different buyer according to the statement, and the policy is, of course, supportive of American AI dominance. The idea here is let's keep everybody reliant on American technology and not allow the Chinese to fill the gap.
And we'll see. I mean, the question mark remains, do they even want these? And if that answer is yes, to a scale of how much and whether or not they'll actually even be allowed to. But anyway, top end of the range here still holding for support anyways, guys, after the breakout for Nvidia.
Yeah, I think one of the things Mitch said, the afternoon buyers have already been tested here, because in the pre-market, these are the afternoon buyers. I was from like 185 half, and then the aftermarket was all above 187 and a half. So all of that has already been heavily tested, and it's been mostly sell on Nvidia since. So the story of whether or not China, look, are there firms in China that want them? Absolutely 100% true, because they have fraud going on right now to make sure that they can get them. Like, let's just be real for a quick little second. Now, the real question becomes, does the Chinese government restrict any of it? Right? I think that's maybe the next shoe to drop. But for price action today, I'm just sort of squarely looking at that 185. I think we can be pretty simple here. If you hold on to 185, okay, look, acceptance that this is positive news, and then maybe you can hold and get going. But underneath 185, I think all the chips look short. Now, the first one I put on my note was Intel. And I said this yesterday, like, after fail, pop, fail, 42, so fail 43, fail 42 half, fail 42, 41 is the jam. So, like, underneath 41, I'm looking short on Intel. And then AMD, I think, is, if you lose 185, AMD is actually a prime candidate to fall heavily, just because it has so much room to its prior support at the 218 level. But you have to play this in both ways. AMD got multiple spikes up and through the 220 level, not just on this news. It was doing of its own volition. So I think this is one to be a little bit more patient with on AMD. But if you lose 185 today on Nvidia, I can't think of a chip name though.
Yeah, I already have it written down here. I mean, I love that 185 level, but I still have Intel breaking that 3960, which is sort of that bottom that we had seen lately. I want to be part of the move down, or that 41 top that we talked about. Look, like I said, man, we went from a national security issue to now just pay up and it's fine. So I think that's great for Nvidia. I like that story there for NVDA. I think it continues to work out for them in their favor, and it's not great for Baba and some of those Chinese names. So I'm trying to get out of some Alibaba there. I put an offer at 158. I'm not going to get there today, but if we do tomorrow on the Fed, I like to get out of it. Yeah, on 185, just looking here at the, it looks better on here on the 30-minute chart. So here's a chart from eSignal on Nvidia. Here's 185. So like there's 185 right there. There it is right there again. Here it is over here. So 185 has been a good level to look out for. And when we broke through it yesterday, you saw there was a little bit of an up and down. It happened early, came back in, then broke, and then now it's come back in and tested and held. So I think the 185 level there for Nvidia is one to play off of. But for me, I'm looking red today. I mean, we've talked about that. I'm looking short. So waiting to see a pop on Intel. To me, it's not as clean, sort of these top side levels there. I mean, I don't know if we get to 41, 42 would be good. And then if you deal with 42 and it's ripping, then you're going to think about holding against this level right there, 42.50s, 42.70s right there yesterday. So if this really starts to rip up, I'm going to get caught shorting it up here. I know I would just pick this level, and then once it gets up here, I feel like I would be nervous and thinking about holding, and then if it rips my face off, it's a problem. So what I'm gonna do is just play this break right here. So this is where I marked down for the day trade. Why didn't that work? There it is. We'll do this right into here. So that right there is 39.60. That's the level that I wrote down here on the note. So for today's sticky note, 39.60, downside push. If we break that, we can use 40 or so as our out. I think it's worth 50 cents. And then if we're right, we collapse back in, and who knows what kind of a move we could have there on Intel. So I like that short break right there on INTC. If you didn't sell at the top, you might have missed it temporarily now on Intel. We've had a couple bounces in around that $42 mark. Doesn't look like it wants to go higher for now. I'm going to fade Intel, although it's a tough decision because we're up on the day. And then Mitch was talking all about, we're going to have to go back over the desk here to get some more stories in. But Mitch was saying that this is maybe a big win for AMD as well. So yeah, I could see that happening. AMD actually looks a little bit better than everything else on the long side of things, right? I mean, you're still going to have a lot of pressure up here near 223, but it looks like right now you can ride this sort of 200 period moving average, which happens to be at such an awesome level of 220. So again, if the market comes down and you're feeling like a long somewhere, 185 in Nvidia, and then 220-ish change here on AMD. So yeah, I mean, I'm looking short on Intel, but I do think a couple longs are setting up, but I'm not going for those. I'm not going to fish for those unless the market can completely turn around, and we're going to give ourselves some time to see if that does wind up happening. All right, man, Tesla. Apparently there's a sale happening here, Sharif. You mentioned better call for the rates. Let's go find out what that sale word means as far as Tesla.
Randy's head perk up there.
Are concerned.
Like, huh? Tesla?
Tesla? Huh?
On the back of a pretty ugly day yesterday, that's a note from Piper Sandler this morning, essentially saying they're very, very close to unsupervised FSD, as we've mentioned many times on this show. They're reaffirming overweight on the stock, $500 on the price target. So what is that, $60+ more from where we are right now. Yeah, Tesla basically, not only a sale, but basically, as far as this note is concerned anyways, begging you to take a Model Y normal range before the end of the year. Sharif, 0% APR, 0 down payment, and free upgrades right across the board if you want one.
I wonder what those Tesla dealerships are looking like, Brendo. Probably packed with these Model Ys, as I can verify. I received a similar order, but not 0%, Brendo. We always seem to get the shorter end of the stick north of the border. I got offered 2.99, but this is what I want to cover here. DHL and Uber, they are very bullish on the Tesla Semi. In fact, DHL confirms receipt of the first Tesla Semi in North America, and they plan to expand the fleet of the trucks to more than 150. DHL is reporting good data here, Brendo. They're talking about exceeding expectations, 1.72 kilowatt hour per mile, with over 3,000 miles already in testing. The truck is running daily 100 miles, California loops with a 500-mile max range and weekly charging cycles. DHL expects additional semi-truck deliveries to come in the later part of next year. But it's not just DHL, Brendo, Uber Freight as well. They announced a collaboration with Tesla, which will generate the Semi into onboarding and fleet operations. Uber sees rising truck and EV demand adoption due to cost savings. And Elon Musk, he confirmed volume. He's done this before, as we know, but he confirmed volume production next year for the Tesla Semi. So let's see what they do.
Yeah, going back to the investor day, that was one of the things he really harped on as the robots were dancing on stage. He was talking about the semi-trucks. But yeah, no, it's great to see finally getting some results on that. If anyone's keeping track, just seeing a note here saying the Fed says FOMC meeting began as scheduled. So on with your day.
As it always
Thank God.
Oh no. Well, you know what? The one day that it doesn't, they're like clockwork. I can't even remember a time that there was anything recently like abnormal. We don't even get rate decisions that are in question that much anymore, which in some ways that's a good thing. For Tesla today, yeah, nice to see Elon talk about everything that doesn't necessarily involve current sales. But if you look at, this is so similar to that 185 on Nvidia, where it's like, okay, well, because we're over it, it ain't that bad. The 50 period is at about 435 on the daily chart here for Tesla, and because we're above it, it's not that bad, down almost 1%, but that doesn't look good if we break it. Tesla loses 435 today, then we should be thinking about that 420 number, where I think just psychologically, and it's not always exactly at 420. So you don't have it bounce. Sometimes it bounces at like 422 or like 419 or something like that. But in and around there, you lose 35 today, and that's a real possibility that we can get that. I mean, usually I would say higher probability to get moves like that after Fed than before, but that's a pretty interesting shelf there at the 435 on Tesla. But I do think there is the possibility that we're to fall. Actually, the EV name that's on my mind today as well is going to be Lucid, that 13. For that 13 potential that it could just fail there again, but Lucid has an interesting kind of breakdown around 12, just underneath 12 and a half as well. And Lucid, of course, reverse splitting and then doing what you do. It has about $1 to get down to its post-split low, which I think it's pretty much headed to almost for sure here on Lucid. I had to pay for locates, but they're cheap.
One of the better decisions that I made, and we did it live on the show, we talked about it, was when the market was falling back in here, I actually stepped up and bought Uber. And so we did good on Uber. The day it broke through this 200 period moving average. It was either the next day or even in that day where we were able to get some 84s and change here on Uber. And it's really done well, back up to 91 there. So just a couple percentage points there, back up to the 50 period moving average. But now looking like it wants to come back in a little bit. Mitch was talking about it too. I like Uber. The story there is the Uber Freight as well. I like the space. It's not just a Tesla story, of course, is they're involved with many different, we had, there's that one that they had to deal with there. I think it was in Dallas. It wasn't Waymo. It was another one that they were coming through with. And I really like Uber here. And it's coming up to the 50 period moving average. We'll see if it can wind up holding that. As I said, like another test there and a hold and a move up, I don't think is the end of the world there either. But here's Uber right now, not doing anything in the pre-market. But what about some of these lows? Again, yesterday we started off down around here for nine. I don't know what happened there off the open, but down to $90, and then the huge move up to 93. Held this area 91.80. So if the market is going to go to the upside, let's see if Uber does drip down again a little bit here and see, the close from 2 days ago is back in and around that $91 mark. So if we can come back into 91, sort of yesterday's lows, we'll see if Uber has a little bit of juice back there to the upside. But I'm favoring the short today. This was just an interesting name there to look at. And then Tesla, yesterday's trend is this way. We weren't really expecting anything from that. And then today now, as we get ready for, lower interest rates tomorrow, no surprise there that as the overnight rate gets lower, Tesla also coming with some nice better pricing on those loans for their cars. Get those things on the road, ship them out there. That's, Tesla, again, so much more than a car company. So I think that's great. I mean, the lower rates, the more cars that they'll ship out. So see you later, Tesla. People talking about how good FSD is. I still don't have that in mind. But yeah, excited to try it out and absolutely enjoy that car like you have no idea. So right now, Tesla to the downside, but I like the stock, but not down 1%. This might be a case for a short here. So we'll wait to see if that 200 period plays at all. But I'm looking short. We've been thinking short this whole time. Join us now at 8 o'clock every single day where you would have heard me talking short. And since then, obviously, the market has bled down. But pre-market is so tough to judge. We'll see what happens here once we open up. And just a quick look at these imbalances right now. We'll sort them by size. Look what we see here. This is the first time I actually looked at this all morning. Not a bid to be found except for on the low end. So right now it's looking like, we don't even have the Nasdaq out yet, looking like it could be a little bit of a bleed here early in the broader market. So we'll wait to see as those imbalances settle down, maybe we can find a bottom, or will the selling pressure continue? So, hey, look, I'm a buyer of Tesla down here near 400 to 380. Let's see if it gets there. Not today, but maybe one day soon.
Let's go on to CoreWeave. Back to the downside we go. We're right back to session lows right now. Volume increasing as well. I guess they didn't mind the reaction yesterday enough, so they said, heck, let's throw another 250 million onto this offering and go to $2.25 billion. They couldn't even get it to 80 yesterday, and it bounced right back up. So
right back.
Why not?
It's interesting here, Brendo. So maybe there was a lot of demand and they're looking to take advantage of that. So we reported to you guys yesterday that it was going to be a $2 billion convertible senior note due in 2031. It's now going to be $2.25 billion. And we also reported to you yesterday that the initial purchasers were going to be allowed to buy an additional $300 million within, I believe, 13 days. That's been upsized now, Brendo, much like the initial offering itself. $337.5 million is going to be the aggregate principal amount for the notes. They're going to pay a hefty interest price, Brendo, 9.25% on the 2030 notes and 9% on the 2031 notes. They're going to be capped call transactions, which prevents dilution. And then the majority, or not the majority, but a portion of the money is going to go to general corporate purposes, likely to expand their data centers.
It was actually reacting positively to this initially this morning, but as we said, right back to low here is on decent volume, escalating, it looks like, too, for CoreWeave today.
I mean, there was the positive story in there, obviously, but the offering got received, let's be real, relatively well. But it was a short yesterday at the open. Liked it for a short, pretty much breaking down at 84. If Nvidia loses 185, this feels like this is another one of those chip adjacent names or chip names that I think you're looking in the other direction. It's holding barely at that 84 level. Except if Nvidia loses 185, this could see 80 again with this offering. And if you look at what's been going on for CoreWeave, usually, the way that you want things to happen is you want, resistance to turn into support. But in this particular case, you have a prior support level right in around this 90 turning into potential resistance. So sorry, CoreWeave. If you're not breaking above 90, at least up and until it's breaking away from this $90 area, I'm going to favor fading. I mean, the top is closer to 88 the last couple of days, but I think to me you need to be above that 90. I'm going to remain bearish on this stock, at least in the short term, right? So if Nvidia breaks 185, I think this one underneath 84 is going to make some sense for the short. If we get a pop, then I want to be testing that high end of the range for resistance in either way there for CoreWeave. And as far as, I know Sean mentioned this, but as far as potential imbalances go, I know it's in play because it's a story, but in about 3 minutes, maybe 4, we'll get some of those NASDAQ names. It'll be interesting to see if they all come out sell. It doesn't, and just to further for the imbalance, just because imbalances are buys or sells, it doesn't necessarily indicate exactly what is going to happen at 9:30. So it does give you a bit of a guide if most things are in the same direction. And if you're looking specifically at New York stocks and there's a lot of imbalances, I like to make sure that a New York stock has actually printed the opening print before engaging in trades. For the NASDAQ, you get the print right at 9:30, or fraction of a second after that. But with the New York names, if you see a big imbalance on a New York stock, sometimes it doesn't print right away. And it can be 10, 20, 30 seconds in, sometimes like a minute, and you're like, oh, the stock hasn't opened. Let me just back off until that opening equilibrium has been met, and then maybe make a bit of it. That's in the back of my mind.
I mean, CoreWeave bounced off nicely yesterday, and right now, it's just, I think it's just still, I hate to be Debbie Downer again here, but I still think it's a short up here near 89 bucks for CoreWeave. I mean, I don't really like, I mean, I was saying this, I'm not sure what this business is all about here, and breaking underneath this 90, I showed this yesterday, we were talking about here, you got a little handle here, and then the cup is, I don't like this break right here. If it happens, great, but you still have some work to do to even get back up. Like that's 110 is your 50-period moving average. So this name is just a violent one. I mean, it has big, huge moves all over the place. I don't know like what this story means with China and all these chips going. I mean, obviously CoreWeave operates in the United States, so I don't think it's a big, huge thing for them there either. But the whole renting of all of these GPUs and all this stuff, it's just it feels like it's part of that whole financing circle here. So I don't know what to think about CoreWeave, man. I'm just going to leave it to more people to understand if this is a long-term buy down here or not, because it's really gotten hit, right? We talked about some of the IPOs that haven't been that successful. This has been a huge success. I mean, CoreWeave came out in April, which not a great time, obviously, of last year. And it just ripped, man. We went from 40 bucks all the way to 190, and you're still double from the IPO price. So I think the stock seems to want to hold down here at 70 bucks, and maybe that's where it's headed right now. But in order to get long, I think you got to get above 90 first. So we'll see if that ever happens. It's at $84. I don't expect a $90 fill anytime soon on CoreWeave. But I do have opinions on the next one, and I'm actually looking to buy some more Netflix in the long-term account. I got Netflix as one of the 4 ideas here on the note. So let's go back over to the desk, find out the news, and see what's happening with Netflix, as of course the Nasdaq continues lower.
Not much new as far as the news itself. I mean, Paramount going hostile and upping the bid for WBD. Seems to be a bidder in this stock so far this morning. We just took out pre-market highs, or testing pre-market highs anyways right now after quite the flush yesterday.
Yeah, this is an interesting story, Brendo. More developments are coming out, more information, mostly from Paramount Skydance because, well, they're quite aggrieved. So here's the deal. $108.4 billion is what PSKY is offering. The filing shows a detailed timeline, though, of where CEO David Ellison repeatedly sought discussions with Warner Brothers Discovery's CEO David Zaslav, most of which were ignored or delayed. Paramount claims its sweetened offers were dismissed without material dialogue, which kind of prompted Paramount to go directly to shareholders and circumvent the board. But here's the deal. Let's talk about the breakdown in communications. Earlier outreach between the two CEOs, including a November 24th dinner, suggested momentum between the two companies. But WBD's board raised concerns over the Ellison's family's financial backstop as well as their regulatory exposure. After Paramount raised its bid, Brendo, to $30 a share, Ellison sent multiple unanswered texts to Zaslav, even adding a personal appeal. Hours later, media reports came out that WBD had entered an exclusive deal with Netflix. And now, with respect to Warner Brothers Discovery's concerns over the financing, here's who is involved, Brendo. The Ellison family is providing full financial backstop reinforced by Affinity Partners, which is Jared Kushner's fund, Middle Eastern sovereign wealth funds, they got plenty of money, we know about that, and a governance structure designed to avoid scrutiny. Tencent, which had been included in that, was removed to get around regulatory scrutiny, worried about the regulator, worried about the Chinese. Ellison asserts, though, that regulatory approval would be faster for Paramount than it would be for Netflix. That's according to him. We'll have to see how this works out.
Yeah, and then we get Trump yesterday, of course, coming out saying, oh, hold on, pump the brakes here. Maybe the Netflix idea, not such a good one for competition specifically. So might be a wait and see here. Sean, what are you thinking for Netflix?
Yeah, so I had basically a long thought on Netflix, man. I mean, I wrote down, it's the only long that I have written down on here. And I just want to see if we wind up holding in this area of $96. So, you're starting to move upside, like I said, pretty short bias into the day. But I was just looking at Netflix and just thinking all that news came out yesterday about Paramount and coming out with a much better deal. Apparently, it's like $16 to $17 billion more when you work it all out and you consider the $30. And then you have to consider also that when they agreed upon this deal with Netflix was over $100. It was like 104. So all that stock that was included has now been depreciated as well. So Netflix is probably going to have to come up with a little bit of a better offer here, right? And so for me, thinking if we got that news yesterday, we definitely got hit to the downside. We had, Kushner and Trump and all these kind of, political sides coming through. And we really held. We held down here, 95, 95.50, $96. So into this area, if we can come back into here, I do want to test the long. So for me on Netflix, I want to take advantage of it in the long-term account. I actually want to buy some Netflix. I don't know if this deal doesn't happen, that Netflix is hurt that bad. They had a great quarter. They had 8% growth year over year, good EPS, and really a good guide. So I think Netflix is getting hit here on all of this deal talk, which makes sense. You don't acquire something for $80 billion and not get hit a little bit. But on their daily chart, it's just been getting, we can call it monthly, whatever. Look, there's a lot of room to go to the downside. There's no doubt about that. But why not just pick a little bit up here? This is $96 right here. We held yesterday. Looks like we could possibly hold again. This goes all the way back to last year at the beginning of the year. We've now had that reverse split take into effect. That's supposed to be a good sign for retail, and I think it is. It's just it hasn't had a chance to breathe. So this is $96. I think it's a buy. I'm sitting there in my long-term account looking to pick up some Netflix right there. And I don't even think we get down there. But if the market does crack, like I think there's a chance, then maybe we do get that bid on Netflix, because you never know where the heavy hands are going to last here off the open. Maybe we do flush and we can pick up a bid down there. But I like Netflix for the long if we can get it near those support areas.
I'll be looking at Warner Brothers specifically. The buyers came in at 27 yesterday. And there was on a 15-minute, there was just a trend break right around that 27. So I want to look there for some buy support and kind of express the trade in that direction. There was just a spike. I know we're going to quickly go back to the desk and back to us. There was just a spike in Tesla and Apple. Didn't see imbalances, but it was right when the Nasdaq balances came out. Tesla now at 437, Apple with a $1 bounce, as well as HT guidance wasn't pretty good.
Yeah, real quick, Home Depot Investor Day on now, guys. Started at 8:30. CEO is speaking currently, talking about opening more stores coming up in 2026, a little bit more than anticipated. But remember, they also cut their guidance, but some executives to come at this Investor Day, guys, for Home Depot. About 30 seconds there.
Okay. Yeah, Home Depot is starting to bump up to the upside. I actually like Home Depot down here at 340. We talked about where it is on the long-term side of things, back into tariff tantrum lows. I'm trying to rush here. Back into April lows of 2024 as well. So you're into some nice levels for Home Depot. I think it's a buy, but for right now, our focus is on the markets. And we get 4 seconds until we do open up. And now we are now open. All eyes focus on Nvidia. All eyes focus on the broader market. And, to be honest with you, as I'm looking for a little bit of short action here right now, but there goes Nvidia, still going to the downside right now. Pretty easy call to the low side right now for Nvidia. Let's see if it does bounce. We both indicated that 185 area there as well. We never got over to IBIT. I like the IBIT short. That's coming in as well right now as Bitcoin looks to break through 90 right there right now. And then Netflix, we can have a quick look to see if we did get a flush on it. Yes, we did. So we're going to wait to see, will our order fill down here near 96 bucks? Right now it's a flush for Netflix. I'm still waiting 5 minutes, man. We've had some big days by waiting, so let's do that right now. Market just trying to figure itself out.
Yeah, Tesla with a big-time bounce there.
Yeah?
When you said Netflix was down, I was expecting Warner Brothers to go with it, but there's someone holding the bid for about 250,000 shares at 27.40, so it's not going at all. But Tesla with the biggest bounce off the open, up to 439, so no problem apparently for Tesla. As you mentioned, Intel to the 41 level. There's only one name. There was Google with some antitrust news. Yada, 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 antitrust, right?
Okay, yeah.
So 314 was a flat bottom break yesterday on these guys. So there, 314. Any close on the 15-minute underneath 314, I want to look continuation to the south side. But it was Intel getting to 41, but only for a brief second. Like it was there for, I don't know, not very long, and already starting to come back, and actually got to 41.25. So if there's a second pop and fade, I like the 41 for the short. Nvidia now well underneath 185, by the way. That was a litmus for me. If Nvidia can't hold 185, then there's a bunch of chip names that should be shorts. CoreWeave, that looks like it might be breaking that 84 level as well.
AMD, first of all, man, I mean, we absolutely nail Netflix, but we just patient. Like, we're not trying to get in right now. That 96 bottom, oh boy. So there's the sticky note right there, 96 long. We should have had it. It's just, I was literally like anxious to get in, but letting it settle down. Maybe it will come in again. And I still don't know if I'd take it. I want these things to settle down, but so far, so good on that one. And then what I was saying was, wow, AMD got hit pretty good to the downside. Just one quick candle and extension right now lower on advanced micro devices. So we just broke through right there. So similarly to Nvidia not holding its bid, it doesn't look like AMD wants to either. Now down 1.3% as the news getting worse here for advanced micro devices, it seems like. Is that what's also happening with Nvidia? Yeah, so the exact same type of thing there. I should have just looked at those shorts, which we did. It just did not take them there. And, there's going to be lots happening in this market. Again, remember we talked about Intel, and I said, like, we could short this, but then if I get into the short, I want to be scared and think about where to punch out. Well, I think we were right, man. I would have been scared there. That moved up $1 straight early, and now all the way back down in. So, wow, everything is actually happening where we sort of thought it would right now. But, Yeah, Netflix did touch 96, man. So, you know, the idea generation is right. Timing right now is off. So we'll wait to see if it comes back in right now. Being patient with it, like really, I want to let this market settle down. The market is making a nice move, lower rate here, and we do want to short eventually this Nasdaq. So maybe we have to start watching VWAP. We said we liked 57. That might not come in. So we'll see maybe about here, 55.50. Give it a couple more minutes and see what's going on right now. But yeah, it's crypto holding 90 there. Neither one of us in position yet. So when something hits, we definitely look at it. Oh, SoFi.
Yeah, no break of 90 is kind of disappointing. WBD's not even, no, on Bitcoin.
Oh, Bitcoin, yeah.
Yeah, so that's not even going anywhere. It's actually going a little bit higher. There's still nothing happening on Warner Brothers, despite all that movement that you saw in Netflix. Actually, no, now Bitcoin's really starting to go. So it's not disappointing if you were looking for longs, I suppose, because it's actually headed to the upside, is going to be BTC. All right, so Nvidia is popping back into 180, maybe into 185. I shouldn't say hopefully. But if we get back to 185, that's that key price level where I think you got to make that decision to look for those shorts to come in. CoreWeave and Intel, those would be the two. We're already heading right back lower. CoreWeave's actually a bit strong. Yeah, CoreWeave's breaking out a little bit here. Don't necessarily like that. Intel's going the other way. That's almost at 40 bucks. Intel's going to break 40 here. All right, VWAP
yeah, Intel's
on Intel.
my trade over here.
Yeah, it's going to be Intel at VWAP instead of Intel at 41, at least in the short term. So watch out for Bitcoin. If it holds on to 90,000, maybe it's going to have some relative strength here today. But if it's not breaking 90, I was looking for the false breaks. I think there's room to 88 if we lose 90,000 on BTC, but it hasn't yet. And the market trying to hold up here, maybe it's because Tesla's looking strong. I don't see anything else that's going upside here. Tesla's about to go green.
The biggest and the baddest stock is going up.
What,
so Apple might be, but it's Palantir right now, from 180 up to 181 and change. Yeah, I'd take Apple or Palantir to the upside right now. But there goes Palantir, man. So this one trying to hold out right now. I mean, it's not near any key levels, but that was a nice move off of 180 as well. Yeah, I didn't really have Apple on my radar here. That's also starting to go upside right there as well. So yeah, Apple and whatnot. I'm looking, so I just put an order out, see if it gets filled. What about 185.50 here for Nvidia? That is where VWAP is. So if we do make a little bit of a run north side right there, I will. More than 25, asked if there's room. Yeah, we know that. Thanks, Hassett. So right into there, 185.50 or so right there for Nvidia. Yeah, I mean, I think that there's going to be more rate cuts to come, more than a quarter point. So yeah, I'd say there is room. But I don't know if he meant, did he mean that for yesterday or for tomorrow, Adara, or?
It's unclear. I think it just kind of means in general. But either way, yeah, worth noting, he has been talking a lot about rates here.
Okay, well,
he can't mean tomorrow because it's not even 100% that we're getting a cut tomorrow. But whatever. Yeah, the next man in line.
It's pretty
what are
close
the
to
odds
100%.
at? I haven't double checked to see what the odds are at
For him, yeah, I think he was 75 or 80%.
Yeah, it got way up there, and then there was some jockeying back and forth. But I mean, everyone suspects it's going to be him. All right, so Intel got the VWAP first. Wow, Tesla. $441.
Yeah.
Do your thing, Tesla. Do your thing. It is now green, by the way. The market's not green, but Tesla is going to be green on the session. Hopefully I'm not jinxing it, everybody. But Intel short at VWAP and not 41. So if we break the prior bar, I'm jumping out of this thing. But let's short it to the $40 level. Nvidia is still underneath 185 bucks. So, I mean, the chips to me are still shorts. But I guess the story this morning is that candle. Elon.
Yes.
435. Well, that's the thing about support. It's support until it's not. And right now, it is. So good look here for Tesla. It is the strongest one for sure. Cheers or live saying Beyond is doing a bit of a move. Can't imagine why, to be honest with you. Is it? No, it's not. Oh, no, that's not really moving. For Beyond Meat, moving would be like 10%. Only up a couple of points here.
Yeah.
When it goes like 10, 15%, then it gets a little bit interesting for potential fades, but not that big of a move there for Beyond Meat. Unfortunately. So the Nasdaq is trying to rebound a little bit. Maybe it's this Tesla, Apple. You said Palantir catching a bit as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's I'm going to sit here on Netflix. I'm bidding 96.20s right now, which is that low. We'll see if that can come in and fill us. So we're getting ready to see now what this market wants to do for us. I mean, it's a nice move higher. I mean, shorting VWAP could also be a play right now for our friendly Nasdaq. But I was trying to wait even a little bit higher. If we can get 96.20s, we are sitting there. So let's pay attention to possibly that coming through at some point here. Would like for it to come through. So if it does, we'll take it. They're 96.20. Then we're just going to honestly use like 96 as our out. I know that seems like real quick to get in and out of a name there. But if we break below, maybe we'll give it. Yeah, I mean, we're not taking a whole bunch of shares. We can give it to this 95. You know, we won't get out immediately if we get this 96.20. We're going to let it settle down a little bit. So I am going to wait for a 95, like basically break on this 96. So be prepared if you do get this long that we're going to try to hold it for a little bit to see if there is any sort of love back in there for that one. The other name that we have on our mind right now is Nvidia. I'm still waiting at 185.50 to see about that short. So hopefully that will come through. The other one we have on, Neil's already in it. So I do like that Intel short. I'm going to wait for that short to come in though for me and 39.50. So we'll wait for that. And then I mentioned here IBIT on a short as well, but most of these stocks didn't run early. Like during the pre-market, they actually went the other way, so we have to now wait for that. But for me, Intel 39.50 is what we've written down on here, so good short over there. But I'm going to have to wait for that name. And then, you know, we talked a little bit about Meta and Microsoft earlier on as well. Look at both that, I don't want to say both, but this name dripping down, that's Meta. And then Microsoft also as a chance there. Google got hit yesterday.
You got to wait for that 200. Microsoft
Google's upside today, okay.
Microsoft's going to give you some value, I think, soon.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering about when to buy some
those
Microsoft, but I'm already in that name.
I never buy. That's the stock obviously it's been a mag for like a bajillion years. One of the biggest big cap tech names, but I haven't bought that in a very long time. So look,
I shorted.
Nvidia is at 185, Intel's at the low, which is good. So I'm looking for this to get to that 40 level, but I think this is going to be an auto reload at VWAP here, as long as we're still seeing the same resistance in the chip name. So we've scalped some out going into the lows. Now we'll look for the reload of the position. I guess there's so many things that didn't come in here, like Warner Brothers. I don't want to pivot. Early on yesterday, it was a VWAP bounce trade on WBD. Today, I kind of thought 27 even. We didn't get a pop down. I'm trying to be really patient about this and not just jumping in here to try and catch it off VWAP, which only worked really just once on a Warner Brothers. Not a lot of action in that name. I know there's some small cappers moving around here, everybody. PRMR was a halt earlier, but it was Wave.
Oh.
Wave Life. This is the day 2 play. Some weird stuff happening at 20 bucks. Like it's broken a few times. It just can't seem to get going. WPE, very sideways. For a stock that's so volatile, it is barely moving, guys.
All right, right here. First position for me right now, we short the Qs. So this was going to be the top trade idea for me anyways. So here we go, man. We are now shorting the Qs. So far, so good. We do take a little bit of a dip down and get some out at VWAP right there. The 50-period moving average just held at 40. So we're sitting there at 39 for some reason. And then we'll wait to see if we can get low again, like 55.20 right there, a potential, but not a bottom by any stretch, but I will bid out a little bit more there. So some outs at 39, just because we put our bid there, and then another bunch, hopefully down here at 20. But here we go, man. Trader alert is up right now. So here we go with the TQs. We are into this first position right now for me today, and it's going to be a little bit of a short. And we're just going to hold this to 56. The level that we wrote down was 57. So if we break above into this area and take out some of these highs, I'm not worried about this move up high. I'm just going to play off of some of these actual levels there. That's 55.90. So if we break low above that, then we'll just snap out of this thing. Looking to get more short around 80 right here, and then out at the top side. But right now, first position is in for me. Is the long here on the futures, and we're just going to wait for that. Okay, perfect.
I think you said long, but
yeah, you see my mic was having an issue now, so back over to you. Oh, it's all good now.
It's all good,
okay.
man.
Apparently, it's all good now. But I canceled my. So what I wanted to say there before I throw it back to see what you're doing, I'm not going to go short the futures and Nvidia. So I actually canceled that trade. I was going to go off view up there 185.50. So if you guys are looking for a short or maybe an out, it would be there. I think it's a little bit better, especially if these futures rip up. I don't want to have the double-edged sword on here. I'll wait for 186.50 then on that trade. But for right now, just into this trade, you're on Intel, so I'm going to leave that alone. And then Netflix, I'm bidding 96.20s, which could, what? Oh my gosh, that went to 96.24 there and missed us. So, okay. Yeah, we get missed there on NFLX. So, yeah, for now we're in that one. Actually, you know what? Now that I'm in this future short, I'm going to hold off on this Netflix buy just for a couple seconds here to see. But if you guys are into it, you know, we have written down on here Netflix long 96. So that's come into play a couple times. And I'm just going to wait to see what happens here on the futures short right now.
Yeah, as the market got to VWAP and bounce, so Intel, I was just looking at Nvidia, still underneath 185, but Intel was able to break the volume weighted average price. So we scalped out into 40.10, which was a low, but this could be breaking out. Then we have to wait for 41 even. That was the price I put in the note that I liked. We happen to take VWAP because it rejected 41. If we reject the volume weighted average price the second time, then I'll jump back in here and get into the short another time, just because like Nvidia is continuing to look weak. So it looks like, yeah, the sellers are coming right back in. So I'll jump back into the trade. Again, give it to the prior bar high. The other name that I liked for a fade, if Nvidia did this, was CoreWeave, but CoreWeave is still holding VWAP. This needs to break 85, and then it joins the party. Bitcoin is holding 90K, but I don't know if it's going to for long. You're down at 90 and then 150, 90,150. This is also losing the volume weighted average price and heading back in. There was one more short. It was Lucid. But Lucid, it's not the most liquidity in the planet, and it's all to the downside. So Lucid not really giving you a chance to get into a short. Almost need this thing to pop somehow, unfortunately. Yeah, like Lucid is just incredibly weak. That's what happens when you reverse split. Go look at Workhorse yesterday. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, you got
that was the best example of what to do when a stock reverse splits, was Workhorse yesterday. Insane. Insane.
The move here really has been very muted again. So I think we're pretty right by saying, like, you know, we're going to have to wait. Hasid's talking right now, so that could be interesting for the futures. But for right now, it's like we're just stuck. We're in between VWAP and the 50-period moving average. That's like a dead zone right now. So we're going to just sort of sit on our hands. We've just gotten missed a bunch of times there at 39. So, you know, we're there at 39. I'm trying to be stubborn with it. See if we get, oh, see? There it is. Okay, we get the fill right there, so let's go, man. It's actually a decent trade alert right now for this price action on the TQ. So let's go to the downside. It's your number one trade idea written over there. Neil's just back into Intel, so not much to do right here. We could check out what Warner Brothers is doing. I know that's been a big talk, obviously, of the town 2750. I mean, this name, I don't think you even have to really look at it until you get, you know, an update from Adara or we hear something else about Warner Brothers, because they're just stuck, right? People are bidding for them. So whether or not this stock moves or not is going to be headline based. They have a deal with Netflix. The deal's done. It's just right now, will they pay that couple $2 billion there to get rid of it and take PSKY? We can see what Paramount is doing right now. They had a nice move up yesterday when that was announced that they're willing to go to 30 right there. So we'll have to see. I don't even think it's 30 cash. There's something involved with that as well. So we'll wait. Maybe they have to. There
was talk. It is cash 30, but there was discussion of potentially they could kick in a breakup, make up for the breakup fee. So they might kick in a few extra dollars. I just want to holler this one out for you guys. TROX, TROX, breaking two highs as we speak. Another small cap runner, Tronox Holdings, whatever. They announced they're receiving a non-binding conditional letters of support, interest, yada, yada, yada. 600 million in financing, it looks like they're receiving. They're just trying to get to the nuts and bolts. It's sometimes way too long-winded of a press release. How much money are they getting? Let us know. Then you can look at the market cap and make your own decision. So 600 million in financing, 35% to the upside. I do not know the float on this or the short float. I'm just going to quickly find it for you. TWRX, 94 million float, 22% short on TROX. So that is juicy. if you're into the small cappers. So we reloaded Intel. Sometimes you get wicked out, but then it's just a wick out. So we're back to the short underneath $40.50. It's back under VWAP. Want this to get to the 40 evens. As long as Nvidia does what it's doing, which is a rejection of the 185. See, that's the key price level. Underneath 185, the shorts have every reason to win here, at least in the things that are going to follow the market, and then chip names especially here, unfortunately, for the bids.
Yeah, there it is. We want to say thank you to Beta Pro again. Scan that QR code. If you're looking for a triple levered ETF, Beta Pro is your game here in Canada. We're showing the TQQs right now, but scan that QR code. This is completely levered and hedged, I should say, against the US dollar for you Canadian savvy investors. betapro.ca/3x daily. They also do have that fee that they are passing off until December the 31st. So please go make sure you do give our sponsor a check there, Beta Pro, for 3x daily levered. Good for that short-term swing. That is for sure. And oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Yeah, man, we are kind of doing it again right now. And for those of you that don't believe, man, just come back every single day. There's the TQQs, man. We're going to go 1 for 1, and that's it. We only have one trade on, and it is a big one. So I have no problem sitting here watching out for that. Where's my Back to the Futures call? Ever since I know about this, now I'm probably never going to stop using it. Another fill right there. It's not like it's moving around that much, but again, the first important thing is pick which way you think the market's going. I thought downside, wait for an opportunity to short it. That came in right there at 940 at the 200 period moving average. We do exactly that. Now we're starting to go back up. I'll put another bid here at 48s. We'll take a piece out right there. And now we'll wait to see where this market exactly goes. I'm still trying to get more short. Hey, this trade could blow up and not work out for us, but there it is, man. Good job, XL Card. I did not make my daily goal as of yet. This is just basically a unit and a half, 2 units or so there on the TQs, waiting to get a little bit more. If we can get up into this 80 spot, we will take a little bit more, and then we can start to think about it. And then the only trade that I canceled that I did have an offer for was this. It was 185.50 for Nvidia. So that would be the only other idea I'm looking at. And then for the long side, I still have Netflix on my mind, but that's 96.20, and I actually canceled it. But that's where we were bidding. We did get missed the first time. So in a thought that these futures go downside, I do want to wait out for Netflix. So let's see if that does follow it. All the big stocks are, I mean, it's mixed. So here, let me just show you something quickly. We are expecting jolts at 10, so that's going to come through. But just take a quick look at this is what I was going to show you quickly instead of showing you everything. Apple up, right? Nvidia down, Broadcom down. Google and Microsoft relatively flat, Meta down, Oracle up, Palantir up. So ExxonMobil giving some guidance now, up 3.5% we're hearing for ExxonMobil. So that, shout out to Randy if he's around. Exxon right now starting to tick up. Like, is this an investor day for Exxon here? Adara, ExxonMobil with the biggest move I've ever seen on this stock without me knowing what the heck's going on.
They unveiled their corporate plan. This came out this morning. I didn't put it on the watch list because there was no volume at the time, but now I guess moving higher. This is their corporate plan through 2030.
Yeah, well, hire that accountant.
Doesn't do that.
I mean, that's what I was saying. Like, I've never seen XOM do stuff like this, unless it was on earnings day or something. This might be this might be the largest single-day candle here, if it continues, anyways, on XOM. Like, this is just basically buy best stocks at 50 period, buy even more at the 200. But there goes ExxonMobil, nice upside play.
One more note on that. This is happening with oil futures doing nothing and actually heading to the downside. Let's go back over to Adara for an update.
I just want to mention here, more comments from Kevin Hassett, who, again, the presumptive Fed chair nominee. He's also a White House economic advisor. He did make a comment here that I think is pretty interesting. So on Trump's schedule, Trump is set to make comments about the economy, according to the schedule, that's all it says, as of 6:10 p.m. Hassett actually kind of teasing these comments, saying that Trump's going to be, quote, laying out the facts on the economy. Obviously, I can't cover that for you guys because it'll be at 6:10 p.m. Eastern, but I'm sure we'll have a lot to say about it tomorrow, and I do think it's worth being aware that that will be happening, and Haas has just kind of reminded us of that as well. In 8 minutes, we're supposed to be getting jolts for both September and October. We'll come to myself early, and we'll make sure that we give you guys all the info you need on that. Back to you.
Thank you very much. ARK is FX. ARK is FX. Oh, there it is. Hey, Sean and Neil. Hey, that's South African?
Yes, I believe so.
African. Been a while. Great show as always. Thank you so much. Shouting it to you. I'm assuming I'm pretty sure it is from South Africa.
We do start at 8 a.m., brother Mike.
Exactly. So
What's up, brother man?
If it's been a while, every day we're starting at 8 a.m. Eastern time. Markets preparation is going to be a little bit bigger. But there was no story here for iRobot outside of a few days ago when the administration was like, hey, we're pumping the robotics and a bounce off $3. So iRobot's going on volume here off this $3 level. This is a big time, it's a big time support. Look at the 50 and the 200 period moving average is kind of converging at that $3. So yeah, it's finding some support here on iRobot. This could be one worth joining. Wasn't on the list because it was not a particular catalyst in here today. But let's see if it can hold on to some prior resistance. Call it 330. That's just where I'm looking for a potential dip in. Still only in Intel. Man, Lucid is allergic to the bid, so it's just not going anywhere up. Was able to get some 40 quarters out, but we're headed right back into that 40-50. So we're holding under 40-50. 41's the level I like more, but if we're only gonna get to trade around VWAP, we're gonna continue to hold. I'm holding essentially a good third of this for the lows. Otherwise, we reload every close underneath the volume-weighted average price. It's Tesla. For anyone that's bullish in the market today, or anyone that's looking for something bullish outside of a small capper, it looks like it's Tesla. Holding higher highs, holding higher lows so far, but it's nowhere near that 450 level. That's the big test. Dumpsville after that on that 450 earlier today, or sorry, yesterday.
We are, let's go, man. We're still running in stock here pretty good right now, right? We have one trade on so far today. It is a futures short right now on the Nasdaq, and it's trying to get a little lower right now. But wow, to Home Depot. I mean, we talked about wanting to buy this name, and again, like, whatever, talking about it is one thing, pushing the button is another thing. There goes Home Depot, man. Like, I really like that stock on there, on that earnings miss, and they just, you know, the day 2, day 3 call would have been perfect on that, man. Right down there into 330, now up to 356. Let's not worry too much about this stock and you know, potential mistrade. There will be others, but yeah, Home Depot right now, man. Just upside there. Great little, I think they're on analyst day, but yeah. So Home Depot, man, saying all the right things right now. It's similar to XOM as well. Just an update on the futures. Another piece out there. We're still waiting for 20 to see if that comes through. So that will be something that we actively wait for right there. Are those 20s and a reload? Yesterday Google went for a little bit of a dump as well, and it's kind of doing it right now. Like I had mentioned that I think Google's proper home is probably around $3, if not even 280. Like, we just had such a huge move up there for Google. Hasid is still speaking, so we'll have to wait to see if that ever settles down. Go Hasid, man, just keep on saying something negative. I don't know, but there goes the market again. Again, we are bidding 20s. We'll see if we can get that. That was Home Depot, right? A little look at some of the other retail names. Target, let's go, man. That looks like that's gonna be a good idea. Target, it needs to still get going, but you know, we're long in this one in the mid 80s as well. And then coming up to, they had a bad day yesterday. We'll see if Lululemon can come through and hold that 180 level. We've been buying that one. We talked about why we like some Lululemon. And then earlier on today, again, Uber was a good talk there with Mitch. We do like some Uber. I'm long into this name. And again, we only looked short today in Uber when we talked about it, but we did not get anywhere near that $93 today. In fact, I mean, Uber is heading south side, which is, you know, funny because Tesla right now, I mean, that's holding and going higher there. I guess they liked it, man. They might, you know, Sharif might get involved here with those lower rates. I don't know. He was just mentioning them. But it looks like Tesla there, lower rates sparking a little bit of interest maybe in the car, in the Model Y, more on the road there. And of course, the more cars that are on the road for Tesla, the better it is. They can sell that software. Watch out for FSD. But yeah, Intel going down, futures going down. It looks like we got a couple of good ones here.
We'll get $400 billion in tariff revenue this year.
Yeah, wow.
Okay, why not? You mentioned cars.
Yeah.
Remember Carvana yesterday? Was just checking the VIX. Nothing really happening on the VIX. But Carvana, well, the buyers came in. Carvana back into the green, so there is some strength elsewhere in the market. And just trying to cover some other names for you guys in here. This will be like you guys can count. I'm not going to bother. I don't know, like we'll call it a dozen days in a row, and it's getting added to the S&P 500. So Carvana day 2, after the official announcement, continuing to go green. Just fighting a sneeze. Okay, well, might actually It's actually happening. Lucid's going up a little bit. Just a little bit. I want to play this one for continuation into the prior day, like yesterday's lows, which is about 1240, and it's going to be VWAP as well. So I'm offering to get into the Lucid short. I'm just not actually getting into the Lucid short yet. Intel heading back toward the low, but it's done this before. I want to make sure, like I've been taking shares sometimes underneath VWAP, but from now on, it's either at or slightly above the volume weighted average price on bounces for Intel. Just a little bit of impatience. So hoping to get Lucid. CoreWeave still, whoops. Oh yeah, Blue Ocean. I'll wait for Blue Ocean. There we go. CoreWeave still holding above VWAP. So CoreWeave showing some signs of strength. I don't want to get into that one just yet. I want it breaking down under 85 if it can, but there's been buyers supporting this on CoreWeave. They actually did have a positive story in addition to the upsized pricing of their offering. So there is some reason why this could go in the other direction. No need to fight it at all. It's like if you were trying to short Tesla right now, you would be fighting it, and that would be the #1 name.
Yeah, I was just going to say, like, we just keep on going over some of the same names here. So let's just unpause this leaderboard and have a quick little look. I mean, it's not even filled up here. Meta, Apple, HIMS, maybe at $40. That's pretty interesting. We have less than, or we have just over 1 minute now until JOLTS, which is job openings. So we'll figure that out with Adair. It's back-to-back months coming through, so that could jolt the market. We are still obviously in the futures trade, so we'll wait to see if there's anything happening there for us as well. But that's, you know, that's the early look right now. Shopify getting off there a little bit, off the bottom of 150. Netflix still that 96, man. You know I like that price, but not really giving me anything there. And then Nvidia still down. SoFi is an interesting name. Maybe we'll look at SoFi there. Wanted to look at SoFi quickly. So there goes Tesla upside as well, right there. So I think Google maybe could get bought on any kind of a bottom there as well. So we'll have to watch out for Google. And then we'll go to Adara right now with 30 seconds left until these JOLTS numbers. We're short the futures, looking to get a little more short, but watch out, number time. Adara.
We're going here a little early because we have some stuff to go over. October, I'm not seeing like they're preparing to release this, but again, we're supposed to get October JOLTS, so we'll have to wait and see. Forecast for October is 7 million, but the more pressing number here, September JOLTS in 10 seconds, 7.2 million is the consensus, and the previous print here, 7.227 million. So again, this is for a couple months back now. Let's see what number we get. CB leading index also on watch. JOLTS way higher than expected here. JOLTS job openings for September, I'm seeing coming in at 7.67 million versus 7.117 million forecast. And the previous print there is 7.227 million. So again, looks like a higher than expected print there for JOLTS job openings. I'm not seeing the CB leading index yet, but again, looks like we're getting higher than expected JOLTS. Let's see if I get any more numbers populating. In the meantime, we'll take a look to see how this market's reacting. Not too much of a market reaction here. Here is the Nasdaq trying to break out of this resistance level at that 623 level. And we're going to take a look here as well at NVDA. We know Nvidia has been on watch here with U.S. President Donald Trump announcing that the company will be able to send its H200 chips to China, though China basically saying, according to Financial Times, they still don't want these chips. They're still going to limit this access. So the battle continues here with the U.S. and China. And there are a ton, as Sean mentioned there here, a lot of financial analyst days or updates being provided by companies. Here's Home Depot moving a lot higher here, though they initially moved lower after reaffirming their fiscal 2025 guidance and announcing their market recovery case, but XOM and CVS also on the move with similar catalysts. I want to see if I have any more data here to share with you guys with regards to JOLTS. Again, 7.67 million, way above estimates here for the month of September. October coming in at 7.67 looks like for October. September coming in at 7.658 million. So again, both of them here around 7.6 million for these JOLTS for September and October. September leading index change here coming in at negative 0.3%. So those are the economic numbers to go over here. And we're going to send you back to Sean and Neil right after we thank our friends at Oragenics. Millions of concussions, 0 approved therapies. Oragenics, trading on the NYSE as OGEN, is advancing a new standard with its intranasal brain-first approach to concussion treatment. With an $8.9 billion market on the horizon, Oragenics is positioned to drive what comes next. See what's ahead. Book a meeting today. Make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, and let's jolt over to Sean and Neil.
there. I feel like we're getting trolled by the Fed there. There was a lot of 6-7s I heard in there, Adara. So a little bit of a troll job there. We don't, I don't think so, obviously. But right there, 55.60. So we did short a little bit more of these futures on that pop up. We actually took a little bit at VWAP there and then short a little bit. And we're going to watch out for 56. We could get, I mean, this trade could come out and then it turns red. So trying to short this. You know, more job openings, so not great, which is actually kind of good for the market.
Big time spike in Bitcoin.
Yeah, so that's the problem, and a big time spike in the market, and a big time spike in Bitcoin. So there you go, man. Bitcoin has not even come close to decoupling right now, but there goes the market. That's a good sign, right? But I mean, the jobs market, if it's weaker and there's a lot of openings up there, it does help the case for a move in rates. So we'll watch out to see if that goes anywhere. But right now, we're loaded up now on the TQs. So we've got the position we want. Look at my price. Oh, no. 55, 67, 67. Oh. So that's probably bad. I might just punch out. I might just add some shares right now just to get rid of that price. So we'll wait to see if it comes back down in now, right now for the futures and the TQQs. But yeah, nice aggressive push now. I am not holding this short through 56. So that's the top right there from yesterday afternoon. If it breaks through there, then we are gonzo. But there it is, man. Nice move down right now. There we are, back to flat, 55.67 right there. So hopefully it comes back in a little bit. We'll take some out at VWAP, which is 50, and then we'll deal with it after that. But so far, so good here on the reload for these futures.
Yeah, the irony, I just got some under VWAP on it. It's the same thing. Yeah. It just goes right back to the local high and then starting to come back in. But I did finally get Lucid. I also marked down the time that you did the 6-7 thing, so my daughter's going to get a kick out of it.
Oh, good. Well, you should do it.
No, you did. You already did it. I don't have to. Because you did this.
All right, all right.
Well, I'm just saying, I don't have to.
I mean, I don't know. I mean,
because you did.
You know, I don't know, Aaron. I don't know. I don't know. Like, what price do I have here?
Over this.
All right.
So yeah, the only new position
we didn't use the reload graph.
The first available pop was right here on Lucid. So if it breaks, I'm going to wait for a low of the day break. I don't know where the bottom is going to be on this one today, but I think until it gets to 1140, then I want to favor the short side of Lucid. As yeah, market's starting to come back in, and Tesla's starting to come back in. So for all you bulls out there, or at least if you were bullish, Tesla was one of the strongest names. That's really starting to pump back in after getting to 445 and heading decidedly lower for sure. iRobot popped without news. So you know what? I don't even note that it made our visualizer, but it is going off on some pretty solid volume here at the open and near the high of the day. So this one might be an opportunity for a long. I'm going to throw this one on a side chart just because I don't know if Bitcoin's going to give me what I want. We're not breaking that 90,000 anytime soon. So yeah, finally got into Lucid short, and is what it is, heading back into the lows. If it holds the low, I might actually just put a bid down there, but I'm holding right now for just underneath that low. I want this getting to 12 even. So 12.50 to 12 quarters to 12 even. You like those quarters and evens in the market.
No problem. Christopher Ocean wanted the reloaded button. He got it. And it was a reload on the futures, but not a, we hadn't really gotten out of that much down there. So there's I mean, that's just honestly. So we're bidding some 56s, then we're bidding some 51s. As here we come right back in right now, just ahead of VWAP. Let's see if we can get some out. But this is going to be a big time trade for me if this does work out. So get ready, man. We're almost at 1 day already. As we'd be very, very patient and very, very specific, man. We laid out this trade exactly, and it's playing out the way we like it right now. Doesn't mean it will long term, but let's try to hold on to that one. There goes my guy, Palantir. It's another one of those days for Palantir, as it just, whenever the market goes, man, this stock really goes up 0.32 right now for PLTR. Just looking through the scanner, man, the hot list is as follows, man. XOM is great right now, right? I mean, that's a hot name right there. AMD all the way back to 222. Wow.
It's green.
I was going to say, what a battle back there. I was not expecting that there for AMD. Okay, wow. Good little look there. NVDA as well coming through. 185.50 did not fill for us yet. We're not waiting there anymore for that either. AMD CGC, okay. The Puff Pass name that's around here. What's up, Weed Batman? CGC right now. There it is, Canopy Growth. It seems like it's getting a little bit of a bump up, but maybe that was just a volume spike there. Nothing happening on the stock.
They completed an acquisition recently.
Okay.
Maybe even this morning.
Okay, so good. So APLD there as well. There's not much happening here. It's Tesla to the rescue here today for anybody trading momentum. I mean, the momentum's been in this name straight upside. So there goes Tesla. I mean, like, Tesla's so crazy because like yesterday it did this on what there wasn't too much news, I didn't think. And then today I was like, it's not even really on my radar, and there it goes. So, I mean, if you guys nailed Tesla, like, let me know in the chat or something, like what really got you excited there? I mean, either way, it's a great support trade. I mean, it comes right into that 435, which was yesterday's bottom, and that's where we opened off. So, you know, no surprise that it goes upside, but that's a pretty aggressive move there for TSLA. We only covered like about 10%. I was gonna say less than 10%, but now they look at about 10% down here. So hopefully these futures can continue a little bit lower, but I don't really see much in the way of catalyst.
Well, AMD
back
going, and Nvidia. Look at how 185 is behaving, everybody. Like, it is exactly at that 185 that we're running into resistance on Nvidia. If this breaks out above that, I mean, all bets are off. This market, I mean, the market, it's easy enough to say it's going to go green if we bust this resistance on Nvidia. So AMD being relatively strong, if you want to craft theories, then you could make the argument that if they're selling a lesser chip to China, then AMD all of a sudden comparatively would have a solid option that's, I guess, closer to Nvidia for competition. I don't know, like maybe that's why it's strong. I don't really know why AMD is going to be stronger, but it is. So there you go. And shout out to the real Gary F saying, check out the banks, Neil. Okay. Philip
Needs
Banks?
to be going up.
Philip Banks. XLF? Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Let's go XLF.
Like that one.
We like the XLF. We love the XLF. We want the XLF to break. The XLF doesn't want to break. On the daily, look at this top on the XLF. It is begging. It is begging to break out. But it's been begging to break out for the last quarter. It just needs to push through. It's 54. It looks gorgeous. Look at it hold higher lows. Look at it hold the 200 period. Look at it now hold the 50. Yeah, I don't know what's going to just push it through. Maybe after Fed. Maybe that's what we're waiting for. Okay, so Lucid's heading back in. Was able to get filled just under the quarters. I'm now bidding in front of 12s on Lucid. It's down 5%. There is no story here except for stock that reverse split goes down. Should anybody be shocked? I don't think you should be shocked. And if you are, then you haven't been looking at the charts of stocks that reverse split. They all pretty much go down. Oh, I promised I would do this one. Workhorse. Workhorse reverse split as well yesterday. This is where it's at. This went all the way to $18. By the open, it was at $14. By the close, that was $6.50. It is now underneath that price. That's why don't get trapped buying stocks that reverse split. They do it for a reason, not because things are going well. Usually it's a bad thing. I can't think of a good instance in which it happened. I'm sure there is one.
Yeah, I mean, I like the strategy there about the, oh shit, I forget. Oh, the AMD versus Nvidia.
I'm just guessing. I can't think of a better reason.
Well, I think that makes sense. I mean, yeah, a little bit more affordable there. And maybe China would be looking over there at the AMD chips instead of the higher powered sort of Nvidia there. It's just the H200 or whatever there going through. Alibaba does get a nice bump up. I'm actually waiting at 158 selfishly to actually get out. What I bought at 160, I just want to get out. I might even just do this midday because I was thinking like with Microsoft where it is and Meta where it is and all these names where they are, you know, they're at the 200 period, if not a little bit lower. And if Alibaba's going to be in trouble, I think it does come back in a little bit here. And I don't really like this story for China now, especially the fact that, you know, if Chinese companies had a choice, and I don't know where Baba's chips land as far as production or cost or and efficiencies against some of those Nvidia chips. But I don't think I like that story as much anymore for Alibaba, especially now that some of those taxes are being imposed there, 25%. I don't even. Whatever. I mean, it's in the Supreme Court. Is that even, Adara, is that even settled yet? Like, how's the Supreme Court and all that tariff talk?
Oh,
like,
not at all. They just did like the initial arguments, and yeah, I don't know. I will say I've heard updates about Kalshi. Does not seem like people think there's like a huge chance of the Supreme Court upholding these tariffs, but we'll have to see.
Okay, so yeah, with all. with all of that being said there, we are still drilling here as we get ready for our new and improved desks and whatnot to come through. So if you hear that in the background, we do apologize for that. But, you know, work needs to be done. We are improving. And no, Toronto is not on fire. That is an old, that's a nice picture. We like it for the warmth, apparently. So,
well, the problem is we actually do get a bunch more forest fires up here. So, like, it is kind of ominous.
And I love how people say it looks like Canada is red. That's just Toronto. Like, Canada is actually geographically a very huge country. But that's Toronto. If you have not visited lovely Toronto, we do encourage you to do exactly that. Powell, I don't think Powell speaks today, Yoshi, unless he does, Adara. Powell, everything.
It's Fed blackout. No one in the Fed should be speaking today at all.
Okay, so there you go. So I wasn't sure if that was happening, but no, not happening at all. So
by rule, everybody.
Yeah, it's tomorrow at 2:30. So no questions, no nothing. The next time we'll hear Powell is after the Fed rate decision. I was going to say cut, but it is a Fed rate decision. And I know Neil and I have showed this, but we always get various viewers popping in at any time. So here is the Fed rate CME watch tool, and this is for tomorrow, right there, December the 10th. Current rate 375 to 400. Looking rate now 90% chance that those rates get squashed, and tomorrow is a completely different beast. And we wake up on Thursday to a 350, 375 overnight rate. So that's 90% chance right now of a Fed rate cut. And when something is that certain, sometimes you get this action in the market. And I mean, right now the ES, everything kind of just on chill mode right now. And I'm trying to deal with this futures trade, but it's just not doing a whole heck of a lot. We did get another fill there at 55 since the last time we spoke. So 3 fills down here. And right now the future's not doing a whole heck of a lot, as we'll wait to see if Hassett says more. Again, not a Fed member yet, so he could speak. So maybe that's what's sending you offside a little bit there. Just a quick check-in on a news story stock in Netflix. Honestly, man, puff past to this one. Sleepy name here for Netflix. I don't, we were going to get 96 long. That was a beautiful price to write down. Again, trade number 2 on the note, but we missed our 96.20. Then I canceled it. And I'm just going to let this one float around. For the long term, though, I am sitting at, I think, I'll have to double check the price. I think it's 96. Just waiting to see. I put it in the pre-market. I like the opportunity to get a little long on Netflix there. I do think the move on Netflix is overdone to the downside. I still really like the properties that they currently own. I really like the quarter that they had. I think Netflix can win. They split on purpose, get more retail action, and then all of a sudden this WBD, Warner Brothers, Paramount, started to hit the radar. So down into here, $96. I like the stock for a little bit of a buy into there. It is the lightest, like, big cap tech name that I have. It's not really similar to the rest. It's Netflix is a sort of completely their own beast there as well. So if you like the streaming game, Netflix might be it. Maybe Disney's undervalued then at current prices, right? I mean, if we're thinking right now that Netflix and Warner Brothers and Paramount all have all this IP and all this, content. What about Disney, man? I know they're a theme park business, but at the same time, a lot of IP with them as well, right? They bought Fox last year or 2 years ago, and that is going to be a good one for them as well. Okay, futures, man, right back into this area. All bid 52s. We'll sit there on ARCA. We'll see if we could take a fill. Right now, nice little downside push here for the market.
Yeah, good look, because the market's not really doing a heck of a lot. All you can do is play inside of the range. I want to give you guys a couple of updates. WeBuy's halted again.
Yeah, what's up with WeBuy?
Well, it's not up today. It's down.
Do you remember the story yesterday? Because I remember you looking at
it. I don't remember. Look, I don't remember the story from yesterday. I will look it up in a second. But
there is one. Give me 2 seconds.
There is. Dara's going to have it in a second. The tap is upside, 267. So halted at 244. It was actually halted down off of the open, and then reopened lower, now getting a bit of a bounce here for WeBuy. But it's down tremendously from yesterday's prices, unfortunately. Dara will have the story in a quick little second, which was yesterday's. Tesla heading right back into the highs. It looks like it's breaking out. I really thought, okay, and we're starting to get there now. I really thought that this iRobot was gonna look a little stronger. It's at VWAP. I mean, it's here. And it's trying to bounce, but that is one heck of a reversal here on iRobot. And there wasn't a story why it popped in the first place. It's the only thing that's kind of getting me here. Like, there was no real story for iRobot except for IBIT, I should say, Bitcoin. And it's just holding on to this VWAP we're above 90,000. I was thinking that we'd be breaking. Part of me thought it was more of a breakdown under 90,000 to 88. But it's really holding on to the volume weighted average price. And usually at this time of day, if you're holding VWAP, I'm auto long. I just can't bring myself to do it on Bitcoin at all. So I'm going to stay away from that. I'm going to reload Lucid here on the next available bounce. Going to look for VWAP here again. So I'm just shorting this one under VWAP as long as it holds. Just feeling like the trend, it's a short until it's not. And if it goes to 12 bucks today, then that's a good target to have. But I'm shorting this under the prior day high. Hopefully all day here on Lucid. Just not sold on that Bitcoin bounce. I could be wrong about that, Adara.
So here's a story on WeBuy from yesterday. Their subsidiary WeBuy Advisor entered into a collaboration agreement with Witstar Group. They're basically going to jointly design and promote some cross-border education and cultural programs with China and Malaysia. So that's the story here for WBUY. Back to you.
Yeah, I mean, I remember reading about that yesterday or talking about it, but not nothing significant there. But nice move, anyways, for WeBuy today to the downside, and great move yesterday to the upside. What's his size doing right here? Okay, it's gone. Okay. It was, wow. Look, this is why, man, if you want to trade, like, look at all, that just got eaten up. There was like 40,000. Unfortunately, I can't pause this, but look at all this size right into here that just got taken out on ARCA in one print, as if it didn't even, it's multiple prints, but in one fell swoop, as if it didn't even matter right there on the TQQs. So we'll take advantage of that. And I was sitting there with the size, so we get out some at 57 there. As it's not really moving around. We've still done okay today, but nothing too crazy as we wait for our prices to come in. Nvidia's not hitting that 185.50. That was going to be a big short if it came in, and it just didn't do that right now. Okay, market, now it's time to get down. So what I'm waiting for is just breaking through this VWAP, breaking through the 50-period moving average, and retesting some of these lows. So if we could do that, good on you, man. We have one trade today. It's 1 for 1, and I wish we had more, man. Boeing, let's have a quick look there. It's sort of hitting on the scanner, but let me find out why. Okay, so maybe low of day there, getting hit. And I know you got out of a little bit of XLF there, but I do appreciate the fact that you like XLF, and that's a big one, man. The banks, thank you for everybody.
It just wouldn't break that top. It's like, how do you not?
Yeah, then you didn't like the...
Well, I also didn't
it was
like
a credit card exposure, I think, right? So
yeah.
That makes sense. But there it is, man, 317 upside for JPM. And it's funny because, you know, the banks have been hot, but SoFi, this is going to rhyme, is not. But it's just like this has not been hot since they released they dropped, well, it was actually recovering quite nicely. And then they had that offering there on Friday, which sent this name down 7%. And it really hasn't recovered much from that level there. So yeah, it looks like we still get some downside pressures here coming from SoFi. So not really SoFi so good on that name. We'll see if it can battle back here. But man, we're just waiting. This could be a real good trade, a real big one if these futures do come in. I am bidding 52s one more time, and then 42s where VWAP's at. That's 52. Then we'll wait to see if we get into the 40s. And then our lows, if we get anything in the 30s, man, we'll be celebrating here on the desk. This could be a real big trade. We are now short. Telling it to you guys because, like, you know, I just want you to know I do believe in this. We do have some shares on. My stop is still up here. If it blows out, it blows out. And I could change this up real quick, man. Like, the futures don't appear to be doing anything. And honestly, a dull, sleepy market is often good for the bulls, not for the bears. You know, the market will tend to glide up when there's not much volume and not much action happening. So I'm going to...
Not if Nvidia keeps falling.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I mean. We need some catalysts here. Nvidia would be good. But if Nvidia is falling, the market's not doing anything. So, I mean, I'm nervous that Nvidia reverses maybe now and goes back there to the upside. I'm bidding 57s there. We'll see if we can get out right there at that price. Hopefully we get another piece. But yeah, a little nervous now that I think a sleeping market does tend to go higher. But I do like what Neil's saying there and wouldn't mind this market going a little lower on Nvidia weakness. But you could see, man, not much going on. We're actually now out of about 20% of this trade, looking to get out of a little bit more. All right, are we going to Adara? Then let's do that.
It's small cap recap time. Let's start here with one that is halted, but I think we should address because I know it's been pretty high on that, I guess, the stock counter. Alpha Time Acquisition Corp, ATMC. Yesterday, they announced that their shareholders have approved their merger agreement with HCYC. Market cap here around 180 million, not significant, but I have to talk about the float I've seen, according to FinViz, a 420,000 share float in this name. So it's a very small float. For ATMC, still halted, be careful with this one. Next up, NCPL, Net Capital, this one with about a 4 million share float and a whole boatload of announcements yesterday after the close. They announced the appointment of Rich Wheelis as CEO, and they also think they're planning to expand into the crypto and blockchain-enabled space. They also announced that they have an inducement grant here under the Nasdaq listing rules, so nice look there. Last but not least, not really a small cap, but certainly a big mover with a pretty big short float. HIMS, thank you to Neil for bringing this one to my attention. Hims and Hers moving higher after Barclays initiated coverage with this one with an overweight rating and a $48 price target. Now again, a little bit more expensive, around $40, but this does have a 33% short float. Make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, and make sure to listen up here as we thank our friends from BTCC. Guys, I just found something crazy. I'm digging into exchanges and I stumbled across BTCC, top 30 globally. But here's the wild part, BTCC has never been hacked. Well, major exchanges keep getting wrecked. BTCC stays untouched. Zero KYC if you're in the US, Canada, or Europe. And through Trader TV, you get 100 USDT coupons for registering, plus a 15% bonus thing that covers losses up to 15K USDT. So seriously, what am I missing here? Scan that QR code for more info. And back to Sean and Neil.
The only thing getting wrecked is our opportunity to read those anymore. I mean, Adara.
Well, I'm not doing another one.
Adara right now, just like putting us to shame right here. We are getting wrecked right there. Thanks, Adara,
Knocked out of the park
for that excited read right there. We do want to thank BTCC. Of course, we did get some more bids there on the TQs, but looking for more there as well. And Neil, I know Adara.
No, I was going to go to Hims for everybody here.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, and I just want to show you guys one thing. Get that voting going right there, because Neil nor I would have been able to find it, and we already showed this once. You got to go $ into the chat. Actually, I got to refresh this because it must not be working right there. So all I did was refresh this. We'll let this load up, but as you start typing in here, you will be able to populate that chart, which we have right there. And those are the top names for today. So mine's going to refresh, and then we'll get looking on there. So Hims on there, as you can see on the right. And as you start to vote, it gives us an idea of names that you want to look at, which stops us from always asking you what exactly you're interested in. So yeah, there it goes, man. Apple, NCPL is one we want to talk about. And Tesla, obviously, they're at 44444 right now. Good job, Tesla, going higher, it looks like.
Yeah, the only problem, like Hims is kind of falling asleep here. There's a lot of it's pretty low volume right now. So
yes.
Just be a little bit careful. Like a name like this, it's in play, it's moving, but it's only a little bit better volume than yesterday. So it's not out of control despite being strong. And then, shoot, there was one on here, that was a new one. It was that NCPL that you guys have been talking about, Net Capital, which is broken out above $1 here and really flying. This will be a Shreve special. Just be careful. This is halted a couple times. And when you're a cheap stock, you have the halt bands. It's, well, I won't get into it, man. The halt bands need to be wider on stocks like this, but they're not. So 140 million volume. It might even go into a down halt pretty soon here, although I do not on my level 2 see the halt indicator, but it looks like it is potentially going into a down halt at 160. For NCPL, that's going to halt, as I said, relatively easy being such a cheap name. Intel, it cannot seem to break down underneath the lows, and the we're catching a bit of a bid. What's Nvidia doing? Nvidia's coming back up to VWAP here. So I might just, thinking I should just be, like, if it's only scalping between 40.50 and 40.10, like it's essentially a 1% range on Intel, and it's just traveling it back and forth. If there's not going to be anything more than that, at some point might actually have to take it. Nvidia is starting to bounce back up to VWAP. Tesla trying to break back out above highs here. Everybody is. We could just end up, I hate to say it, we could end up with a bit of an inside day. Like, look at the bottom of the range yesterday. Okay, so we've tagged yesterday's low. We're making lower highs. Even if you bust and close above VWAP here and the Nasdaq goes green, then you've got overnight resistance and afternoon, like late afternoon and midday resistance from yesterday on the NQ. So you've got a lot to chop through, and I don't know if there's enough volume to get us going. So we got to try to find some other names that are going to try to move. I see a bunch of people saying silver is going. Well, that's an understatement. There goes silver. I'm going to make the assumption that gold is also making a power move, but another day and another high for silver. The breakout just keeps on continuing here for SLV. Oh yeah, this is a join. Why not? First available dip.
Ooh.
Yeah, this is one. Why was I not liking silver today?
Hi ho.
I don't have a, hi ho silver.
It's
First
off to
available
work we
dip.
go.
I'm gonna look for something in silver alongside. Now that gets to occupy a level 2 for me. Just gotta find something that's gonna move a little bit more. Like Lucid, I'm still in that one to the south side. Reloaded VWAP, bounce off the lows. If it breaks VWAP, I get out. If it holds VWAP, we short it to the low of the day. Very, very simple plan for that name, but silver looks pretty exciting to me. Adara?
Yeah, just an update here. Keep an eye on NFLX and WBD. We have some commentary coming out from the Independent Cinema Alliance, which describes itself as a cinema trade association dedicated to the empowerment of independent movie theaters. So, not shockingly, they are not a fan here of WBD and NFLX. They said they actually oppose the deal. So again, Independent Cinema Alliance coming out here opposing this WBD NFLX deal. Back to you.
All right. Yeah, I mean, looking at, so first of all, futures just made a little bit of a move down. Like, I hate still talking about the same stuff, but like nothing's happening right now. Look at this market. Like, you know, if there was a stone, you couldn't get blood from it. And this market right here is, honestly, man, like we shorted the, like we have that short. We have the top and we have the bottoms. It's just looking for this bottom and it's just not coming through. So we'll take another bid right there at 57 and just continue to watch this and really trying to heat up here. But I don't know, man, this market is definitely not hot right now as we wait for Fed. I mean, when it's so certain of 90% right now, I'm just getting lighter and lighter in this position. Like I said, I really wish that there was something that would create this market to do something, but we're just getting light on this and not willing to like lose it on a market that's not doing anything. So, we got to fix it. I think it's every time you take one of those positions there, it changes there. So I'm going to see if actually, what am I doing? I don't want to get out of the queues. I was just about to get out of the queues just to reload that position board. But all right, we'll just have to let that go and see if the position board comes back at some point over there. Okay, SMH, AMD, Netflix. We can have a quick look at Netflix. I'm just checking the scanner. That's why I keep looking up. Like if there's anything going on. Like, okay, nothing going on here again. So that would be something to look at. All right, futures, not going to reload this position, man. Not even reloading it there. Maybe I'll take something around 90 just to see, but you know, this could be a relatively flat opening push for me, especially if these futures don't do anything. So right now on this trade, we're going to have to wait for it. So right now it's TQs looking to let this go. Yeah, there was some news, wasn't there, Dara, on Spotify earlier today. So a shout out to you guys there in the chat, Caxavin there. Up 2.68% right there for Spotify. Something, yes, go.
Yeah, I didn't even see this on my blotter. I apologize. But yeah, they announced they're expanding music videos in beta to premium users in the US and Canada.
Okay. And I just want to answer a question from Yannick in the chat. Yannick saying, you know, why wouldn't the fact that the deal with Netflix is looking less likely cause the stock to pop? And you're talking about Netflix in particular. So that would be my theory as well. I think the problem with that theory is there's also the chance that Netflix, who haven't responded yet, could come out with a higher bid. And if the market didn't like it to begin with, then they'd really not like it if they come up with a higher bid. So while we're in this limbo that Netflix could respond with a higher bid, I think they're getting punished a little bit. That said, if they come back saying, that's our offer, we're not raising it, and then leave it to Warner Brothers to decide whether they want to accept this new Skydance bid or at least engage seriously with it or ask Netflix for a revised bid, whatever. We'll wait for that response. I think if Netflix doesn't move, the stock will pop. If they respond with a higher bid, I think there's more downside. Oh, that's not split. Sorry, that's not split adjusted. Whatever, I'll just leave it on this chart. Yeah, I think we're going, like you could see at least the low 90s if Netflix comes out and says, oh, we're going to sweeten the bid. I just feel like that's inevitability. We're just waiting for them to actually respond here. Yeah, so still looking at a couple of the same things with now silver waiting for a pullback. Haven't gotten any out in the last reload there. But and by the way, I know I'm saying silver. The reason SLV is what we'll trade. right? So we'll trade the ETF. It's not spot silver. It's just this is what we trade in. The ETFs are the easiest way to go here at real trading. So that's where the execution is going to be, and I will let you know those prices. So it's not going to be actual spot prices, but that's fine. I think the chart's going to be exactly the same, everybody. It's not like it's that big of a deal. So the market, once again, hits a high and starts to pull back. Why? Nvidia hits VWAP, pulls back. Every single time at 185. You can't break through. I think at this point, if you see a close above the volume-weighted average price in 85, it's a get out of the shorts at that moment. But here comes the test of the low on Intel. The good news is the futures and everything was at resistance, and this is already at the support. So that's clearly weaker than others. I'm going to get another reload in here because the same thing keeps happening. We keep popping up and fading. So just keep shorting the pops, or if you're going long and you find something strong and you're buying dips and doing the same thing, market's not moving much. You could be playing this in either way. Like you could be going long something at the bottom and shorting the top of the range, but it is range bound. Unless you are looking at something like a small capper that's going, let us know in the chat. I know there was a few that were really running. And then of course, as I said, like silver and to a lesser extent, to a much lesser extent, gold. Actually, gold is very range bound. Yuck. Silver's breaking out. Gold's not even doing it.
Yeah,
this isn't even doing anything.
I'm really disappointed today. There's not much going on. And obviously, I wish there was as well. Maybe ARM, looking to see if there's anything going on there with ARM up to 140 again. Wow, it's very, very choppy with the volume here on ARM today. It doesn't even look like a great chart there, but ARM looking to get going a little bit there. We haven't talked about this name in quite a while there. ARM Holdings. So, you know, another look there, something to talk about there with ARM. And then, you know, we looked at Uber early. Let's have a check back on Tesla. Should have just bought Tesla, man. When we were like uncertain of what we were doing here today, Tesla could have been something to buy there just on momentum breaking higher. TSLA keeps on going. So there it goes, 45.50s. Tesla right now taking out the high of the day. And well, maybe it's having a little bit of a problem here, but yeah, it looks like just for now, Tesla is having that problem, but there it goes right now, 446. I mean, is that a key breaking spot maybe for Tesla? You know, I'm still short the market here, and that's obviously not doing anything. So you got to look over to names that have some kind of momentum. So it was XOM, had a great bid underneath it early as well. So let's have a quick look to see if XOM is now doing something. Okay, they had a bid early, falling back in. We also saw Home Depot. So these are two investor day trades right there in Home Depot from 340. They dropped a bad guide early, which sent this name down on limited volume in the pre-market. And then all of a sudden the market opened up and they're like, well, you know, we still like the stock, I guess. A nice upside play there. And again, lowering the rates, I think, is good for Home Depot. A little bit cheaper for cost of capital. You know, it's not really going to, quarter basis point cut's not going to do anything for mortgage rates or anything, I would think. People changing their minds, but maybe staying in their current homes and making some adjustments there and, you know, renovations and whatnot. Obviously, winter months, not the strong ones at all for Home Depot, so we'll have to watch out for that. APLD, okay, we can have a quick look over there. Applied Digital, this is a name that has definitely had its movement in the sun as well. Good one there, 20 up to 35. Nice move there for APLD right now. Breaking through the day's high there for Applied Digital. This is a strong name. Bounced, I think, off the 200 period moving average in and around there, $21. No, not even really got that close. And now escalating itself to the high side into around $36, $40. So APLD looking great on the daily. Came in, retested the 50, now breaking higher. ARKQ, my robotics name, I believe has some APLD in it. And this is a name that I bought at 109 there, so not bad there, 4 or 5% up on Kathy Wood's robotic name. And we bought that just over, right down into here, that day that it was announced in the pre-market and that's sort of what's helping Tesla as well, and Rich Tech, and a lot of these robotic names continue to climb higher. And this morning, of course, we had IRBT on the mind.
It's still strong.
Is it still strong today? I think that's how it was about, what, 420 or so into there over the last couple of days? No, it looks like it popped into 5. But yeah, 380, 375 or so there for IRBT, looking like a trade to happen there. It's 1036 right now. See, that's the problem. I'm just going to put this on the chat right here. Oh, my page.
There is some other strength going on.
It's just about being chopped out, someone said. I think it's a choppy market.
It's a very choppy market. You got to try to find something which is either holding a range that you can respect, which is fine, or something which is breaking. So we're talking about silver, iRobot's making some moves, although that's even kind of pulling back a little bit. Coinbase breaking out. So Bitcoin's above 91,000 now. So, we're not breaking under 90K anytime soon if we're at 91. You got Coin breaking to the upside. What is Robinhood doing? I load it up. Robinhood strong day, but hasn't broken yesterday's high. So Coin maybe a little bit stronger. But the story of what might make them go and continue is Bitcoin just broke the high. So I guess it was, it looks like it was a good buy at the volume weighted average price. At this point, there haven't been many to draw, to be honest with you guys. But this is now a pretty clean upward trend here on IBIT. So it's a very clean upward trend. So I want it on a 3-minute chart. I'm just kind of connecting it. So this is the open. I like to leave out the open bar sometimes, and then where it starts buying after that, I think can be a little bit more interesting. And it's starting to hold very decently on the 3-minute. If we break that trend line, I probably would look to go short. But until then, maybe just ride the trend line as we continue higher, and then find some names that are doing something similar, because I keep waiting for silver to pull back. There hasn't been a red, since you guys brought this up, there hasn't been a red candle on the 3-minute. Not a one. Unbelievable rally here. And it's not like gold is going. Silver, it's doing its own breakout. Just go to a daily chart. It's definitely on its own turn to the upside and doing its own thing. So yeah, there are some things that are moving, everybody. And shout out to Aldringler. Interesting name. I probably got that wrong. Not that it's moving, but GameStop reports. We're going to get them, I believe, after the bell today, pretty much right after the bell. And GameStop, it's right back at a level of accumulation at $22, $23. The last time it was at this price, well, it held for a bit, but it held a lot longer in the middle of the year. So there have been buyers in this range before. It'll be interesting to see if there's anything that they could say that could cause it to bounce fundamentally. There's a bit of a Bitcoin story that goes with them as well, so there's always that potential with Bitcoin catching a bid that they could do a little bit of a jaunt to the upside just based on that little sympathy. But not moving yet, but something to watch for the afternoon at least.
I like the jaunt right there. City Boy wants us to have a quick little look there at SMX and what you had mentioned here. I'll try to see if I can find it. Oh yeah, again, this thing just on me up here. Here it is right here. All right, let's send this through and talk about some of these levels that you just mentioned there. So incoming over 190 to 200. So let's see if it does break out here. And you're looking for that, City Boy, right now. So you are a little bit away from this level right now. But yeah, I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Yesterday, pretty halty up and around these areas. And that's the level that we got to there in the pre-market. Sorry, that's the post-market yesterday, up to 190 to 200. So if we're going to look at a little bit of a bigger break, yeah, I think that's about right. You might want to look, yeah, I mean, 200 is fine, a psychological level for sure. The last time we did break through 200, though, we did stop at 216. And I think if you take a 200 break, look out for 250 area right into here. Could be some kind of sell there, but I don't know. This level, again, it's like a 1 million share float. It's not a big, huge level of shares to be sold in the first place. And I'll just double check, because I said I would look at this stock just quickly, and then we'll go over to Adair for the 1040 update. SMX, right into here. Security matters, it sure does, that is for sure. And this stock right there, there's the float, so we nailed that one right. 1.05 million with 21% short. So yeah, man, it is, City Boy, it is sort of primed to get that move. Now, will we get it is another story. So yeah, look at that, look for a breakout. I would say, yeah, breaking through, that's almost 170 right there is the top. So that might be even better than your 200 call. But yeah, market just kind of figuring itself out. SMX a good call. And I don't know if we've halted on TGL yet today. This is I see my Halts scanner right here has TGL on it, and AFJK. Is that a stock, or is that like one of those testing stocks? Okay, Amy Healthcare right there. So this is another name that's starting to move around a little bit. This is halted a bunch of times there today. So AFJK on the halt list as well today. So yeah, not much going on here. We'll go over to Adara, find out some stories, look at the broader market, and get right back and see if we can find a trade before we throw it over to the midday. What's up, Adara?
It's a pretty green board all in all, guys. Finance really strong. Berkshire Hathaway a little bit lower here, but we have a lot of strength in names like Morgan Stanley, JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, etc. Saw some comments coming from Wells Fargo CEO Charlie Scharf about AI earlier today. Probably not what's moving the sector, but either way, banking looks great. Consumer non-durables generally looking pretty good as well. Consumer durables, Tesla leading this one to the upside. Industrial services, distribution, retail trade, kind of mixed, but we do have a lot of strength here in names like Amazon and actually Home Depot, which did initially gap down. On the other hand, AZO AutoZone on earnings day one. This is a $3,000 ticker, but this name is a little bit weaker, sending the sector to the downside. Let's take a look here at some sectors that are a bit weaker. Health technology trying to be held up here by Johnson & Johnson and Eli Lilly, but a lot of this sector pretty red. Consumer services notably weak, and communications a really weak look today as well, guys. All three of these names bright red. Transportation, Uber, looks like the largest constituent in the sector, actually trying to send the rest of the group to the downside. We'll talk tech. Meta, red here, down 1.5%. But the rest of the sector generally looking pretty good. Adobe to the upside, AppLovin up nearly 3%, ACN and CrowdStrike with some strength. Electronic tech, though, really mixed as traders try to digest the impacts of the announcement that, yes, the Trump administration will allow Nvidia and potentially AMD and Intel to send their chips to China. However, China might not want these chips in the first place. So this sector here for chips still absolutely going to be in play. Back to you.
Well, I think it depends on, when it comes to wanting the chips, it depends on who, when you say China, businesses want them. China. 100%. It's what the government wants that ends up mattering. So you got to make, I think we have to make that distinction. But you know what? This is crypto that's going. Bitcoin's going to get to 92K here, it seems. Everyone keeps asking in the chat, what's going on with Circle? Like, is there a story here with Circle? I don't think so. I haven't seen anything particular to them. But obviously, crypto adjacent. We're at 91.75. We're heading to the upside. So Circle making a big bounce. This is the continued break over here on BTC. It just keeps on going and going and going. Looking incredibly strong. So, yeah, you're still getting, you shouldn't short a dull market on something which is relatively strong. It's that simple. So it doesn't matter what direction. Like, I was looking at this level in here thinking, heck, you break down underneath that supply zone, that's an easy trip into 50. That's what the setup looked like this morning, and instead we go the other way to the upside. So a little bit disappointing. Ultimately, hopefully we'll get some silver, but I just got out of Lucid. I did not reload a third time because Lucid just broke back above the prior high. So even this, like, the market's gliding higher, didn't even bother reloading it the third time. So we scalped to the low a couple of times, not even reloading, not gonna fight it, doesn't make any sense. Intel, at least, like this one, as the market goes higher, like, it's holding the same range. Look at the 15-minute event, like the 15-minute chart. You've got the initial spike, and then you're just holding at 40.5, and then you're holding and compressing this zone. So you're getting higher lows, and you're getting higher highs into a bit of a compression pattern. The other reason why I'm not reloading the short right now would be that rule break. Nvidia's broken 185, at least temporarily, so it's starting to wake up a little bit here. Nvidia over VWAP, Nvidia over that 185 zone. If it can hold, I think that sets it a little bit bullish, and we try to set up some long plays. Obviously, AMD was already strong. But yeah, you're starting to go up because Nvidia wasn't really participating in the move. Now Nvidia's here, and now Nvidia's really starting to go. So silver strong, Bitcoin, 92,000 just broke. Nvidia now breaking the 185. Going higher. AMD was already up 1 percentage point. And yeah, it does look like the bulls are starting to come in. But as the second I say that, the market pulls back a bit.
Yeah, I mean, so who said don't short a dull market yet is short the market? I mean, I'll put my hand up for that one. We had that discussion earlier, and I was like, generally when the market's dull, you get this drift higher. And so we were very, very patient, waited for that drift to come through. And I'm actually bidding, let me take a little bit out here at 76 if we're able to do that, and then watch out where we go from here. So, you know, we're back into this short. It's been pretty good shorting tops, but we have to be able to get out. So we'll have to take it out there. I'm waiting for a bigger piece. Let me put a 75 here as well, just capturing some of this movement from that top side in case we don't drift in case we keep on drifting, we don't actually make the move back to the downside right now. So we'll pay attention there and see what winds up happening. There's a fill. And we do have a much bigger one at 70s. Maybe we can get that out, and then we'll let it go. I mean, we're up on the futures today, but if it does break 56, then we will get out of that one as we continue to drift on and on and on and on and on. So yeah, man, there is a lot of stuff happening in behind us. We want to thank everybody for their patience. As you know, we have been having some obviously issues there with the drilling and whatnot in the back. But for right now, we do go to the downside here on the TQs. So I'm bidding 70s, man. This is going to be a big, there it is. Yes, sir, let's go. Right now, as we get a little jacked up, man, we are at the highest spot we've been at all day right now, and the market goes lower right now. So there goes the TQs. Oh boy, was that a short rate there that we just put on. So yeah, man, we let it drift up, and exactly as we talked about, it's the #1 trade idea for myself, and there it goes, man. The TQs really printing out. Daily goal met right there. So dull market, we did short that very top, take advantage, getting out at the 50 period, then on the way back in right there. So yes, sir, daily goal met, and no better time than right now. We talked about him the last couple of days. We had some big moves in Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. He's a very, very good friend of the show and might have been our first guest ever. It is Jeff Mendel. What is up? It's either you or that gentleman that we know, Karsh.
I think it
so.
was.
I'm not sure which one was first, but Jeff, you may recall.
But by the way, you know, it's a toss-up. You know, neither of us can remember that far back, right?
Yeah, true. We've probably been true.
For so long, right? You know, funny news. You bring up Karsh. He's back.
Ooh, all right.
I don't know the name of the firm that he's doing some stuff for, but you know, I'm sure he'll be bugging you guys soon.
Good, man.
Awesome.
Good to hear. How you been lately?
Not bad, but you know, I'm getting texts from people yesterday, you know, saying I'm going to be on the ski slope today, or traveling, or something like that. Not on the show. So I'm like, you know, that's all you got to do to get me on is talk smack. So
exactly.
Appreciate it.
Hey, man, I'm honored to slide into your DMs there, man. I'm glad to know someone as famous as you, Jeff. But yesterday we had a good move up there. We had some talk from Mr. Michael Burry about Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, and we got a really big bump up yesterday. If we come over to the chart here, and we talked about it live on the show there, we traded a little bit of it as well. As we break through right there, you never know where volume's going to come through. And then look at here today again, nicely cooking, man. 5 million shares there for Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, as both of these names look to get juiced up a little bit here in the market, as up another 6 or 7%. So I think these are probably the names leading the way volume-wise. Good to see them trade so consistently, and good to see OTCN right here at the top of the book. So you guys definitely providing liquidity in these two names. Anything to talk about over here? I guess you guys got a big bump yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, look, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, you know, lots of news on this so far this year, right? You know, it was up around this $12 mark. I don't know how long ago, but it was definitely up here if you go further out a couple months, right? So, you know, it's been in this range, it's been in this area before. You know, you mentioned that it's traded 4.7 million shares so far. That the 20-day average on this name has been, you know, 7.8 million shares a day. And so, you know, there is a lot of activity going on in this name. It's going to continue, right? Today it's up almost 6%. And so, you know, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, great names to look at when, you know, it's also at the top of the list too. Freddie Mac is up almost 7% today. Not as much volume, but that's you know, typical. It's been around 20-day average ADV 3.5. You know, once again.
Jeff, I do have this website up, and it's one that I have bookmarked, and it's always on my screen as well. It's your most active page. So this is where I just a little trick of the trade here. I suggest sorting by trades. Sometimes you'll get big time share volumes that might be, you know, 1 or 2 prints. But if you sort by trades, that's where you see the Tencent, the BYD. So we talked about them over there in China. Luckin Coffee as well, Rolls-Royce. So a lot of these names, different ADRs, but today led by Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. I do have to ask you a question, though. You mentioned that there was a Luckin Coffee there just outside your office. Were you able to test out the Luckin Coffee there, LKNCY?
It's not yet. but it's definitely on the list of things to do. Maybe next week I'll be able to get there. I'll send you guys a picture so you can share it. But definitely looking forward to that. LKNCY, we've talked about this before. Symbol that delisted from, I think it was Nasdaq.
Yep.
Right, came down here. It was trading below $5. Look at it now. It's up to $37 here, and it's another one of those names. It's if you look at the notional traded per day, right? There's already been over $13 million worth of this traded of Luckin Coffee today. So great name to look at. Saw one of the other names on that list, Tencent, TCEHY. What's it doing today?
Doing pretty good. It's right now
down 1%. So there's something there as well too. Also BYDDY.
Yep.
I think it's one of the largest electric car vehicle manufacturers in the world. Just because it's not here in the U.S. and North America doesn't mean that it's not in a lot of other places. So big names to look at. It's all these are ADRs as well too. So it's if you look at that list that you brought up, right? Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, you name it.
Well, in addition to what is moving right now, I think a big event for anyone tuning in for the first time, maybe you haven't seen Jeff come on here. We know next year we're just gravitating towards markets being open almost 24 hours, effectively 24 hours. But there is an opportunity OTC you guys have right now to be able to trade in the aftermarket. Like names are reporting in the evenings, and you can look at those on the Moon ATS. How's that roll up and going? We have them up here at Real Trading now.
So over the past week, Moon has had its high watermarks for activity on the platform. Last night was another one of those examples, and so Nvidia led the way with the most trades. Meta, Tesla, TQQ, Netflix, a few names out there. So these are single stock names, right? And then also ETFs as well too. And Moon market data is actually available now, I believe, through your provider as well too, right? So you guys can take a look at nighttime, see Moon. There's Boats, which has been in the space for a few years now, and we're working alongside them, gaining some market share, but also gaining a lot of new participants in there as well too that are first timers for the 8 p.m. to 4 a.m. Eastern Standard Time trading session. I think as we move into next year, there will be more firms that have kind of adopted to that. And I mentioned this already, but you guys just pulled in our market data for the first time, so then you can actually see the inside of what stocks are trading, where the volume is in real time in these names, which is very important, right? Bringing more transparency into that space. That just brings more liquidity, more participants, and we'll see what next year brings.
Well, that's the important thing, the more liquidity, because look, last night we know we're still in an environment where a lot of times you'll get overnight news. So a lot of this reaction to maybe the Nvidia chip story is happening in the aftermarkets, and now with more liquidity via another ATS, it gives traders more confidence to trade. And I think there's a lot of traders that are understanding, and hopefully more going forward, that at least exposing yourself to these new opportunities and learning to trade in that session or understanding how they move is going to be very important. There was something Sean brought up yesterday, and I was like, and we were like, oh, we got to make sure we ask Jeff, and it has nothing to do with the Cowboys. Although I will tell you guys this: before I get into it, I want to talk to you about if there's going to be the auction possibilities at open and close at OTC. But I will say this: here is the nice thing I'm going to say, because I know you're a Cowboys fan. Dak Prescott is a better quarterback than Jalen Hurts. That's it. Anyone can comment how they want. And you don't even have to respond, but that's me being very nice, because I really don't like the Cowboys. But back to the markets.
Real quick. How many Super Bowls does Jalen Hurts have?
It doesn't matter.
Mendo, he's a Bills fan.
Right now I'm watching Jerry's Netflix I delayed watching it for a little bit. Figured Cowboys go on a little run. Let's start this thing. It's like I'm watching this, with my 1-year-old, making him wear a Cowboys T-shirt. I'm like, this Cole. I'm like, this is what I grew up watching right here. Right, it's amazing. But now I'm to like the last episode where they haven't been to an NFC Championship game since 1995, and I'm like,
it's been a hot minute. But that was my compliment to the Cowboys. And again, maybe it speaks more to Jalen Hurts than anything else, not being that good. But when it comes to the open and closing auctions, we talk about them a lot here. And for everyone that watches the show in the morning, we always go over like the open auction, and then we go over the closing auction and all the activity. Is something like that potentially coming to the OTC? And would there be any timeline? The last time we talked, I know there was a possibility, and I just wanted to get that to you because I know we only get to talk to you every now and then. So any updates along those lines?
Well, I like that little jab there, right there. I'm a little hurt, but come on, guys. Okay, so great question. Let's take a step back, right? So exchanges, right? Nasdaq, New York Stock Exchange, they run their own opening and closing auctions every day for symbols, right? And those exchanges also have the concept of a unified closing print as well too. And so for Nasdaq, at 4 p.m. you wait for it. For NYSE, 4 p.m. and change, you wait for that closing print that goes off, right? And so whatever that print is, market makers and participants and firms come together. There's an auction process. There are imbalances that are disseminated out to the marketplace over a period of time as well too. And so through that process, it's made to match buyers and sellers. And then it culminates into that print that matches as much liquidity as possible with those. In the over-the-counter market, the FINRA's ORF does not have the concept of that closing print, right? And so that one print that goes off at 4 p.m. or sometime shortly thereafter, like it does on the exchanges, it does not exist on the trade feed, right? What we have done at OTC Markets is made a process though, where if firms are looking for a liquidity event at the end of the day, they can be a part of a closing cross, right? And so that closing cross has an imbalance feed that goes out. People can opt to be a part of that closing cross where they send in an MOC or an LOC, and then what they do is firms can offset that as well too, and that culminates into a process that we go through with the imbalance feed going out there 10 minutes before, and then ultimately we look to match buyers and sellers as well too. The one difference is versus the exchanges is we don't have that closing print, but we still obviously print that closing spin, that closing cross out to the tape uniquely from it. And so we built the process maybe a little bit ahead of time, but it's if someone is looking to be a participant in that, there are a lot of brokers that offer access to it as well too. There are firms that are providing liquidity in there as well too, and there are some firms that are actually taking advantage of that as well too. Long way to go on it, but if anyone has any questions on it, right? If you guys field them, feel free, send them over. Love to talk about it.
Appreciate it, Jeff. And you know what you just did? For all of the questions, and we get a lot of these, explaining what the closing auctions are, how they work, why they exist. And now all of a sudden you can just listen to the market breakdown of the mechanics from your good friend Jeff Mendel. Again, thank you so much, Jeffrey Mendel, head of broker dealer sales at the OTC Markets. Enjoy the skiing. I know you're going to be doing a lot of it. It's always skiing or golf, and obviously it's skiing right now, so enjoy it.
I'll see you on Thursday. How about that?
Oh, yeah, that's right. We're going to lunch.
We'll see you in a couple of days. Okay,
Thanks.
thanks, Jeff. We'll see you in a
brother.
couple of days. That's Jeff
Have a good
Mendo
one.
from the OTC Marketplace there. And as I mentioned yesterday, yeah, this gentleman's coming in just a couple of days. So, all right, thank you, everybody. It's been a blast. Neil and I are back at 2 p.m. Thank you, Jeff. And we will go over immediately to Adara. So we're back at 2 p.m. Then it's the guys after that. Ciao for now.
I have Boeing deliveries to talk about here. BA with their November orders, 126 net new orders in November after 164 gross orders and 38 cancellations. Jet deliveries have fallen to 44 on a month-over-month basis versus 53 in October. So month-over-month declines here in jet deliveries. Net new orders coming in at 126 for November for the Boeing companies. We send you over to the midday.
All right, let's do this.
Understand.
Boom! Greetings and salutations, beautiful people. Welcome to the midday show. Not that guy, this guy. It's your boy Joey Options, and I'm Sharif.
I can see how you can mix us
Yeah,
up.
well,
Same
I mean,
shirt,
you guys got the
obviously.
same color shirt on.
Yeah.
People need to know, Joey. All right, man, let's see who's in the chat. All right, we got Blackhawk JP. We got Sean Riff J. Job I Neil. All right, man. Duran Gordon. We got Lee the Conductor and Goldie Isaac. Shout out to Tisman. Shout out to Max Trading. Jody. She's ready for her cup of Joe.
We get it.
All right, Tismail. We got Super No. Yes, we got KC 526. We got other Zinks. We got Jameson. Papacito is joining us from Israel. We got